Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q. In fact, you may be listening to it for the first time because we have got a new show. My name is Red. I'm joined by Mel.
A new show?
Yeah, we're starting Ultraman Leo today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
Boss, you killed a child.
Amazing. Mission complete. That right there is why you're the best, boss. The one and only.
Thank you, Mel. Also joined by Brad.
Hi, I'm back. Soon to be replaced by a very similar guy who likes fighting games and has complicated feelings about dungeon crawlers. So don't feel bad if I suddenly die or anything.
Yeah. We can, anyone can be replaced immediately by the same person. It's a shame I missed the finale of Ultraman Leo. When you two watched that, it was like a big deal. It ended on that big two-parter with.
It was really cool with Babaru.
With Babaru, there was I've got like mixed feelings on those two episodes. I probably fall somewhere between the two of you, but I'm like, it was.
It's okay though because Ultraman Leo walked so that Ultraman Leo could run.
Yeah. Ultraman Leo, please. This one's pronounced Leo.
Yeah.
So, we are starting a brand new show today. We are a podcast where we go through
12
the
episodes
Ultra
or something.
Yeah. We go through, if you're not familiar with our podcast, our show is about going through the Ultra series, mostly in order. We started with Shin Ultraman, and then we went straight back to Ultra Q, the original show. Our podcast, Ultra Q, is like a pun based on that. We've covered everything in, up through Ultraman Leo now, and we've also skipped ahead a couple of times and watched Blazer and Arc, and we're getting on. Now we're starting a brand new show, Ultraman Leo, and it seems a little interesting. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Now, what we usually do on our show is we have a little bit of a preamble where we talk about the things we've done in the week, just get warmed up in time for the Ultraman. I have conveniently done literally nothing this week. I have been playing KOTOR 2. That game is not finished yet. I've been having a good time with KOTOR 2.
Chastises you. Chastises you for doing nothing. Also would have chastised you for doing something.
It's fan. Her vibes are so good.
Have you played KOTOR 2 before?
Yeah, it's the first RPG I ever played.
Oh.
So this revisit is... I have been dreading this revisit for a very long time. I have been very, very pleasantly surprised. I've been having a great time. I love Krea's stupid bullshit. It's just basically I spend everything with her trying to convince her that being nice is a bit like being manipulative. It's great, and just for those precious influence points. I especially love there's a Jedi in it called Atris, and I love her vibe with the exile. When I was young, I did not explore. She has not Atris. What if we swap those two cats? That would be great. But Atris KOTOR 2 is like your ex-wife.
Oh yeah, her. Okay, I remember her now. I didn't remember her off the top of my head.
Yeah, she's just like very clearly divorced, and the energy on that first conversation you have with her, where she's like, "Yeah, I kept your lightsaber," and you're that's disgusting. It's so good. You're like cutting her off mid-sentence to argue with the argument she's about to make. Love it. Also just like, nice to play an RPG where the party members all like have little interactions with each other when you're not there. Which is good.
Interactions like, hey, where's the protagonist?
This is a little more than that, but there are some of them are how do we feel about protagonist? But obviously I can't I'm not gonna sit here and go, oh yeah, this is, I'm gonna heap praise upon Chris Avalon. That's not how it goes anymore. But I've been having a surprisingly good time with KOTOR 2.
I was one of the obnoxious, KOTOR 2 is one of the greatest Star Wars things ever made. Fuck the movies, kids. And I haven't I was maybe. When did KOTOR 2 come out? Because it might not have been
2005, maybe.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, because
right?
I feel like these are not even teenage opinions. These might be preteen opinions.
December the 9th, December the 6th, 2004.
Okay,
was it on OG Xbox then?
Yeah.
So, OG Xbox. Sorry, I was thinking of it released in the EU in 2005. Oh, and on Windows, it released in 2005 everywhere. I played it on PC.
I played it on PC, so it would have been around then. Yeah.
Okay.
I did not have an Xbox.
Yeah. Naturally, I'm not playing. When I played this game the first time, I played it raw vanilla because I was a child. This time, I am playing with a bunch of mods and a bunch of restored content, which
I should also do that. The one thing I'm curious about revisiting that game is that that was younger Brad did not know what Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition is, and I do.
Yeah, same. Here's the thing, if you're not the kind of person, dear listener, if you look at KOTOR 2 and you go, this looks like sort of like an action RPG, like I remember Dragon Age, this looks a bit like a Dragon Age. If you're not willing to stare at your sheet and make the numbers work, fiddle with your inventory until the numbers to make the numbers do what you want them to do, you're gonna maybe have not quite click with the game. This game about looking at your menu and pulling items into your right hand and left hand.
Go play Jedi Academy.
Different slots. Go play Jedi Academy. This game is for making your party into a killing machine and then just kind of watching them go.
Does the Star Wars game use D&D as a base mechanically?
Yeah.
Yes. So the history on this. The history on
when
this makes perfect
when you have
sense.
the D&D guys make a Star Wars game.
Yes. BioWare made KOTOR 1. BioWare at this time were mostly famous for making Dungeons and Dragons games, specifically their big landmark successes, Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 2, one of the apparently one of the greats. I've got it lined up ready to go, but that game sounds fucking long, so I might play Planescape first instead.
It sounds like a case of if all you have is a hammer. Even
yes,
though I'm
they had Dungeons and Dragons. They had experience with Dungeons and Dragons, and they used Dungeons and Dragons to make KOTOR games. Now,
well, even more notably, this is also the era where Wizards goes, hey, the base mechanics of our system are now open source in an attempt to monopolize the RPG market. So they had an easy excuse to go, well...
What, are you saying it's not some kind of gracious, pure thing they did?
Who could have thought that the system reference document and the open game license were to spread evil and design philosophy throughout an entire medium like a cancer?
Me talking about this is how the game talks about the Galactic Republic, by the way.
I guess it makes sense that that's the edition that also is able to have people go, well, 4th edition sucks, so we'll just make our own new 3rd edition.
That's what happened.
Yeah, I know.
That is, yes, yeah. Yeah. I suppose the one, I don't know what the stepping stone is between Baldur's Gate, and this, and 2003.
I guess Neverwinter.
I suppose Neverwinter must have been 3rd edition, because Baldur's Gate's 2nd edition.
Yeah. I think Baldur's Gate 2 was even the swan song of 2
Which one is
D&D games.
Icewind Dale?
I'm pretty sure that's also
2E.
Yeah.
That's it's like the exact same game as Baldur's Gate, but all the story is taken out and it's just dungeon crawl.
It's like the Infinity Engine, right? I think all of those
Yes.
games are.
It's like the Etrian Odyssey of Baldur's Gate.
That's wild.
Yeah, you don't. You just
except
you
they
don't
never
even get
heard of
any,
this. The World Tree, also known as Features.
yeah, you don't get any party characters. You just like make 6 characters at the beginning of the game, and that's what you do in Icewind Dale.
Wait, was Temple? Oh no, Temple of Elemental Evil was Troika. Okay, I was about to say that might also be but no, that's a different company.
Of course, Troika decided they were going to make Temple of Elemental Evil.
Yeah, I want to play that. I want to play that game so bad. Partially because I know it was controversial at the time of release because it has a gay guy as a party member, and I'm like, what was going on there?
I just had the cursed thought of what if BioWare in this era made a Bionicle RPG.
But yeah, that's why they're called BioWare. They're big fans of Bionicle.
That's true.
It was all leading
before
up to
Bionicle happened. There was you and I both played the Bionicle RPG that was available on the internet. I don't know that you can find anymore.
I actually never got very far in that one.
I didn't get very far, but I did play it.
I think I dabbled it mostly because like I was like a child who hadn't played games like that, so I was just mostly confused.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Game Boy Advance game that I think I got as like a birthday present or something, and I was really sad when I realized you play as like the tiny guys and not the big cool guys.
Oh, the tiny guys are cool.
I had
all he did was throw rocks.
I had the on the Wii Bionicle Heroes.
Oh yes,
which was like it was like the one like a travel. It's like they made a Lego game. You know the ones, the Travel Tale Lego game, but as a third-person shooter.
Yes.
In the 2006 year, but also the weapons you got were like based on the previous years. But the thing I remember that was very silly about it is like a lot of the game revolved around doing the Lego thing where you go you build the device, you build the way forward at certain key points.
Mm-hmm.
You build the video game company that made Shantae.
Yep.
And
all
those
way forward.
Yeah, and then but the way that things get built is you enter like a golden install mode where the theme of the game plays, which means that like for half the game you don't hear the actual level music.
Okay. I do know there's an Oboe Shoes video on Bionicle Heroes. I played that game. It went on like PS2 or something forever and ever ago, and I do not remember any of it.
There was also like a really hard in that same year. There was also a hard like isometric RPG they put on their website.
I think that's the one I actually meant.
Oh, okay. Because there was like the one that's like earlier in like when the game when the franchise launched, and there was like a first person exploration.
I mean the isometric one on their website.
Okay, yeah, I played a decent amount of that. I never beat it, but I got
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
remember
what the fuck are we talking about?
Remember when the mid-aughts was crazy because they just like put free Flash games on their website.
Yeah. It was all gonna end eventually, but briefly, times were.
Shouts to the Courage the Cowardly Dog point and click adventure game.
Damn.
I think I remember on the Cartoon Network site I played like a mecha combat game.
It was IGPX. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Or it was like a base destruction. It was like about like it was from the sister series to Billy and Mandy, and it was about like destroying each other's bases or something.
There was an IGPX game that was based on the Micro series, where that series is about fighting robots and not racing. So when I played that game and then waited for the show to come out, I was very confused why people weren't shooting at each other.
There was a Lego series called Lego Mars Mission.
I remember this thing.
It sounds like Elon Musk's career.
Which had on the Lego website, you could play a Mars Mission game, and I checked it out, and I was immediately like, oh my god, this is just Command and Conquer. You could just play Command and Conquer Lego Mars Mission for free on their website.
Yeah. They went crazy. in that era.
Yeah. Anyway, I was talking about Kotor. Kotor 2 is fun. That's all I've been doing. I've been busy. Who wants to go?
All right. Brad has Combo Breaker. Do you want to go first?
I have a lot of shit. So I'm gonna parse out things in like relative order. Well, okay, that's not true because there's a few things that I'm like, I should hit these first. One of them actually. Oh wait, no. Okay, one of them ties into Combo Breaker. So, first, Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal, season 2 wrapped up. I can't believe I'm saying it, but once again, Nathan Fielder has elevated to new heights. I don't feel bad about spoiling this because he's on talk shows just talking about it, and it's in the news. Nathan Fielder became a licensed 737 pilot for this season.
What?
What the fuck?
The final episode is him flying a plane full of people, and part of the joke is, oh, we have a comedian flying the plane. He doesn't know what he's doing. He might crash.
What?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
So, like the entire I've talked about before, the entire season is about like co-pilots not being like comfortable talking to their other pilot and how that could lead to like aviation like disasters or like situations that could have been easily handled, like especially on landing and stuff, if someone just spoke up or was like, no, you're clearly making a mistake, I'm taking over the controls. Like having someone be comfortable enough to challenge authority in that way and be like, no, you're going to get us killed if I don't step in here. So the logical conclusion is have the season where you have the comedian do everything necessary to become a licensed pilot and then do his first graduated flight with another actual experienced pilot on board who is clearly very nervous about the whole thing, with a bunch of paid actors on the flight as passengers who aren't really acting, they're literally just on a flight.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
It is ridiculous. Yeah, that season goes places that... So, the thing about Nathan Fielder that I don't know if I've ever been able to, like, effectively communicate what I talk about, because you're mostly watching it because it's really fucking funny. That's, like, 90% of the Nathan Fielder experience, is that very deadpan guy, and, like, he's just really good at playing that character that's very detached and lets people maybe talk for just long enough to hang themselves on camera, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The last 10% of the Fielder sauce that it has always been there, even from, like, Nathan For You, his first show, is, like, an undercurrent of, like, social commentary or, like, really, like, hammering in on, like, a specific element of, like, society and like, kind of commenting on that. Like, Nathan For You, the specter of the recession really hangs over that show, and there's a lot of little bits and pieces where you can see, like, oh, he's making a point here about, like, what living through this is like. The Rehearsal season 1 has bits of that with, like, elements of social anxiety and, like, anxiety around being, you know, in a family unit and, like, how to perform in social situations. And The Curse was all about, like, white privileged people, like, making content basically at the expense of, like, impoverished and, like, you know, communities in need that, like, need their help, but not in the ways that people who go in with cameras think they need their help. And this one, the whole season, I'm like, okay, where is this going? Like, is this actually going to be about aviation safety? And what it ends up being about is around episode 4 or 5, he takes a wide turn where, he goes, okay, why are pilots so seemingly uncomfortable with having, like, conversations like this where they're talking about, like, hey, I'm uncomfortable with this. And it's because aviation, and as an industry, one of the most, like, stigmatizing in terms of, like, mental health struggles or any sort of, like, diagnosable, like, neurodivergency or anything like that. Nathan Fielder, in doing research for this season, discovered that he is very popular online with the neurodivergent community, because of his deadpan style of character.
Okay.
And it goes on to, like, talk a little bit about how, like, he asks around for, like, when he's in the process of getting his license, like, hey, should I go in and do like get diagnosed for whatever, just like do like a comprehensive screening? And all of the comments are pilots going like, why would you ever go to a doctor and get diagnosed? Do you want your career to be over? Like, as soon as that's on the paper, they can just tell you to fuck off and you're never working in this field ever again. And it gets really interesting about, like, the line that pilots need to play with, like, seeking out help for, like, anything, like, mental health related, or even just getting diagnosed, even if it's, like, something that, like, if they got diagnosed with, it could very clearly open up, like, avenues for them to explore, like, treatment options, or, like, you know, getting, like, therapy, or like, developing strategies that they can use to, like, you know, better their personal lives. So it gets interesting that way. And also just like some sad bits there about how like they do put together a lot of random data, and I mean a lot of it's bullshit comedy stuff, but like the loopholes and bullshit you need to do, even as someone with a successful HBO show, to get to talk to people in positions of power in like safety committees, or like politicians that can like pull on like strings to like get change to actually happen in like a system, like how hard it is to even get in the room with someone like that. And also too, just because they're on like the head of a committee or like a board or something doesn't also necessarily know they entirely know what you're talking about or are an expert in their field. And they might just not be the person that you need to have that conversation with to get the ball rolling in terms of enacting change, such as, hey, maybe we should have some roleplay exercises as part of pilot training regimens. And just, like, it's just so sad seeing, like, oh, any attempt to even, like, get this off the ground just completely falls flat. It's like, yeah. So yeah, Rehearsal Season 2, great time. I think that it has higher highs, maybe some lower lows than Season 1. It's just a little less consistent for me. But it kept me laughing. The one bit I posted in here, which, Mel, I don't know if you got the chance to watch it. Yeah. Maybe the funniest thing he's ever done. I think that was episode 3. But yeah, just incredible TV. But also, too, like, there's just a lot of, like, random bits of, like there's a thing with like a singing competition that's kind of funny, but also too I don't feel like is the strongest like material in the show. And I think there's just a few more bits this time around that didn't fully land for me compared to like Season 1, which was him making like a fake family unit and meeting a bunch of weird fucking people, and like I think it was always on one for me. But yeah, Combo Breaker happened. What a weird combo breaker. First of all, California friends flew in late. The night before, I was talking with my friend Jake, who a lot of the times what happens is he brings a portable monitor and I'll bring my PS5, and we'll be some of the people at the event that are doing the like bring your own console setups. This is especially important the day before anyone's allowed to go into like the actual tournament space, because we're all just hanging out in a big hotel lobby. People find whatever outlets they can, and we plug shit in and we run sets of like whatever game and get all set up that way. And Jake was like, oh shit, I forgot my monitor, cause like he traveled in like the day earlier, and I went, yeah, honestly I didn't really want to bring my PS5. It's kind of a pain to travel with a whole ass PS5, but I had the idea, you know what though? I could just bring my fucking Steam Deck, with like the little dock thingy, and just I ran out and bought a portable monitor, and I was like, I'm gonna be that guy with the setups. I installed some weird shit on RetroArch. No one bit on any of those, sadly, throughout the weekend. Everyone just wanted to play Tekken. But I got that all set up, and it's always fun being the dude with the setup, because everyone appreciates you, especially if they're really nervous about how they're gonna do in tournament, because you're the one source for getting, like, reliable practice in. So that was cool. Tournament-wise, as a competitor, deeply unsatisfying. So I technically didn't do bad. I did 2-2 in Street Fighter, 1-2 in a lot of other games.
I
and
hear
2 in a few
that
others.
some of those weren't by your own efforts.
No, a lot of people did not fucking show up for the pools, therefore sending me further into the pool. So when I actually got to play, I was up against people that were better.
The killers?
Yeah. So, like, to be fair, part of it is that, like, some games I just didn't... Like, Tekken and Street Fighter were the games I really focused on. Street Fighter, I had it the worst because I won 2 games. Like, Street Fighter, I technically did best in, and it's because 2 people didn't show up. So I technically played... My first game was technically what my third game should have been. And I just got washed by a Rashid that really knew what was happening. The frustrating part of all this. So, like, you know, I understand, like, it happens, and also, too, I was talking with a bunch of random commentators and, like, players and shit over the weekend. Actually, shout-outs to, when I was waiting for my Uber one night, I think his name is Mustard. Let me see. It might be Ketchup. No, it's Mustard. It's Mustard.
Did he do it in the kitchen with a candlestick?
I don't know. He didn't seem like the type but yeah, he was outside smoking. He's a Mortal Kombat 1 commentator. Like, I think he was commentating the event. And I was talking with my friend Johnson because we were Ubering back to the venue at like 1 in the morning, or we're Ubering back to our hotel at like 1 in the morning. And I was talking a little bit about it, and he came up and was chatting or whatever. And I didn't even know who he was, really, until Johnson told me later, because he recognized him. But I was like, yeah, I was just kind of bummed, because, like, all my matches I was DQ, and he was like, man, fuck them. You showed up, you paid your money, they paid their money, you didn't show up. You probably would have just taken those matches anyways. And, like, that is, like... Sometimes people don't do it because they just want to hang out with their friends or they got other shit to focus on, or, like, you know, they signed up for games at the same time and they're just like, well, I'm not going to bother with this one. But also, too, it is true. Like, I did this for Marvel, too, at Frosty's earlier this year, where it's like, I just DQ'd myself because I didn't fucking practice and I knew, like, it wasn't worth it. Like, I was just going to show up to get demolished. So I'm assuming some of those were at least probably that. Also, judging by the, like... tournament placement records of some of the people I was supposed to go up against, because you could like check that when like the seeding happens or whatever. So I'm like, whatever. Like, not all of those were like flukes. Like, I probably would have taken a few of those at the very least. The one that I am pissed off about, Tekken, my controllers. So the Hot 42 is one of those cheap, like, leverless controller things that, like, people recommend. I like mine a lot, but it's one of those controllers that you'll find in, like, a lot of DIY, like, cheaper controllers. If you hold down a button while the power cycle is starting up when you plug it in, the settings change on it. And when I must have been leaning on it or something while plugging in my controller for my first tournament match, because my directional buttons stopped working. And because of the technicality, because this is part of, like, the Tekken World Tour, so if it wasn't for an event that the publisher was sponsoring, I feel like this would have been a thing where we would have restarted and everyone would have been chill with it. But they had to get a judge to come over, look at the problem, and then look at me in the face and go, well, you've thrown the first round, you need to find an alternate controller option. So, my first match, I was down 1 game, I had to switch to using my stick. I don't know how to play Tekken on stick, really. And what pisses me off is I think I don't know if I would have won, but I definitely could have... Was not, like, beyond my skill range to have won that first match, if I had been playing on my preferred control method. But I didn't, and part of that was obviously, like, I was down a game because of a technicality. So then I get sent to losers... And my next match is against a guy... I figured out my controller thing. Like, I managed to download the instruction manual on the shitty Wi-Fi of the venue and, like, plug it into a setup that wasn't being used and fix the problem. Thank God. But then my second game is up against a killer that was put in losers by an even better killer, and I just got demolished. I actually, like, when that was done, I just kind of went outside, like, the main ballroom, grabbed some shitty, like, random food and, like, a cookie from the fucking, like... bad catering they had upstairs, sat against a wall for like an hour and was just like, man, like, I was not feeling it. But it is what it is. Like, it happens. Like, sometimes you go 0-2. And also, too, that was, like, I was thinking about it, that's a lesson learned for next time, too, at least with, like, how that controller works. Like, so that's something that I know how to avoid, and it will not happen again, at the very least. So can't feel too bad about that. Like, you know, shit happens, but it's a lesson. But yeah, it was kind of unsatisfying. Fortunately, had a lot of fun playing throughout the weekend, just like casual matches. I was a monster on the Tatsunoko versus Capcom machine in the arcade. I don't really play that game. I've barely played that game. I was running a team of Alex and Saki, and for some reason people could not handle my bullshit. I had a guy who was getting increasingly more frustrated with me. And then I landed Alex's level 3 command grab super, and before the animation even finished, he fist bumped me and went GG's, and then like kind of ran off real fast. And I was like, damn, I'm a monster. It was fun. Shout outs to Gabe, a new person I met who brought Sengoku Basara Cross to the nice. BYOC console setup, which is a game that was a name I had heard. I did not realize was related to the other Sengoku Basara.
Yeah, it's like an R6 license game for that series.
Yeah, and Capcom was involved too. Like it was a cross thing between them. That game is cool. It's stupid, but it's cool. I want to actually.
I mean, that's just Sengoku Basara.
I'm not gonna lie. I downloaded when I got back home. I downloaded the Devil Kings ISO. Because I was like, maybe I should check this shit out.
I want to play it one day. I just, it's unfortunately its status is the West is limited / copyright.
They're Musos basically, right?
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
It seems like there was even like some legal issues a bit because it was like so transparently Capcom did their own Samurai Warriors.
That's so funny. So like I was playing. I need to know what's happening in those games because one of the characters is just like a Gundam. Like he's a big samurai Gundam who is insane. The lady I kept playing had this mechanic where she was like sickly and seemed on the verge of death, and she seemed like one of the worst characters in the game, but she's also like possessed by a demonic spirit, and when you fill up the possession bar, she suddenly becomes the best character in the game for like 10 seconds.
They fucking put ABBA fucking...
Yeah, kind of, but instead of like a big key, it's like demon hands that come out of the ground. It's cool as shit. Yeah, it was a fun time. I signed up for the Gundam Extreme versus Shuffle turn. Okay, this was actually kind of also disappointing, but also kind of my fault. So the Gundam Extreme versus people were there with their setups of the latest version of the art. Well, I don't know. We might be a few versions behind at this point, but hush hush, and we'll take what we can get, sort of thing. They were running a shuffle tournament, which basically how the shuffle tournament works is it's kind of like, it's like half serious, half like kind of informal with how it's run, but it's like for half the day, they have a queue up system in Start GG where you queue up for matches and then you get called and you randomly get shuffled into like a random 2v2 like match where you play, and at the end of the game, 4 people are going to be at the top in terms of wins, and then they'll randomly queue up for a 2v2, and then they'll fight, and whoever wins, like, wins the tournament or whatever. So, like, it's one of those things where people are taking it seriously, and they want to win, but also, like, because of how heavily randomized it is, it's also mostly, like, for fun, right? And also, too, like, just the fact that, like, it runs for half the day. Like, part of the point of doing these is, like, we want people to show up, play a few matches, have a good time, experience Gundam, and then, like, they have their fill, and the people who want to stay and really be gremlins about it the whole day can do that. I lean more towards the stay around the whole day and be a gremlin territory, because Gundam is, like, my thing. But I was mostly just hanging out with my other friends and having a good time, and I was like, you know what? I'm probably not going to rank all that well in the Shuffle tournament, but for the last hour, I'll stick around and play some Gundam Extreme Versus. They ran into a technical issue with one of the, like, PCs they use, and it took the whole last hour for them to, like, fix it in time for, like, the last, like, the last tournament where, like, the top 4 players were playing. So I didn't get to play in the actual Shuffle tournament itself, but I did get some good games in with casuals the night before, and also on the after party on the last day. It's really funny because, like, there's a lot of people at, like I've said before, people have started to recognize me around the Gundam setup. I was on stream for Undernight. Brett, the commentator, and also one of the runners of the actual Gundam Extreme versus shit, like, he's the one who actually does the Shuffle tournament, remembered me, which I was kind of surprised by, but in the commentary, he was like, oh yeah, Brad Invoke of Gundam fame. And I was like, oh damn, yeah, that would be my reputation. So that was funny. But there was a few people around the setup who didn't know who I was that, like, during the after party, they were watching me play, and they're like, oh, you're in trouble, and then they're like, oh, you actually handled that situation really well, and then, like, they just kept watching me play, and they're like, oh, huh, and then one guy said something which is really funny to me, which was, watching you is fascinating because it's so clear you know what you're doing in many ways, but then there's, like, really basic foundational skills that normally we teach early on that you just don't do. And, like, I'm kind of baffled by how you play, and I was like, let's fucking go. Yeah.
You got some kind of drunken fist style of Gundam.
Yes. So, the like, literally, because part of it is that all of my Gundam prowess is all from playing, like, all, like, COVID is happening, I'm loading up M-Bon when I have free time and playing for 5 hours straight. And maybe not necessarily looking at all the online resources that I should to learn cancel routes and, like, oh, when I'm in this animation, technically I can do this other attack and then free fall out of it faster in case I whiff to, like, make myself safe. So, like, it's a lot of, like, the more niche stuff that, like, you'd have to get from experimenting around with, like, move combinations and stuff that I just never bothered doing. Because they were like, you have, like, a really strong, like, sense of, like, oh, if they're charging towards me from this angle, I can use this move and hit them. But also, too, it's like, if I miss something and I need to get out of a situation or play defensive, like, I don't always know that stuff. So they were giving me some tips. I actually learned a lot that, like, I'm like, oh, I'm just from, like, a few, like, training sessions with those guys, I am a way stronger player. But it was also, like, my main student in that game is Crossbone X2, the one that's the dark purple and black one that Sabine pilots from Crossbone. And there was a guy talking, he was like, actually, like, possibly the best Crossbone X2 player in NA is, like, here. Hold on, let me text him. I want him to, like, come over and kick your ass for a second just to, like, show you what you should be doing.
Nice.
And he came over and he kicked my ass and we talked a little bit and I learned a lot, so it was fun. Yeah, Gundam Extreme Versus community is phenomenal. I love those guys. They're just so nice, and, like, it was cool to, like, talk G-Quux for a little bit with people, shoot the shit, hang out. Fun time. I'm trying to think of anything. Oh, you know what? Well, one thing. Shoutouts to the Psychic Drive, I believe is their name. They're like a Midwestern arcade machine supplier. They are almost always they're always the ones, like, supplying a bunch of the cabs at Combo Breaker for people to play on. I talked with so this year the difference is that their staff had a little booth in the corner. One of the dudes had a Hall & Oates arcade stick that he just had out. They had like a projector loaded up with a bunch of random arcade ROMs, and they loaded up the shitty Gundam Street Fighter 2 clone. And I just was like, oh, let's check this out. And I started playing around with it. I'm like, damn, this game it's just a Street Fighter 2 clone, but, like, it's like Guys and Zagax and shit instead of, like, Guile and shit.
Which one is it called?
Which one is what?
Which one? What game is this one?
I think it's... Hold on. I think it's, like, Gundam EX Review, like REVUE. Okay. They have a very funny boss character that, like, does not look like anything from the 1 Year War. Let me see if I can find... yeah, here. This is, like, the final boss. And I'm just like, you made... this is, like, a fighting game designer's take on what a Gundam, like, mobile suit should look
Gundam.
like.
That's not the Universal Century.
Ridiculous. No, its name is, like, the Dobel or some shit. And
got the name accurate.
Yeah, it sticks out like a sore fucking thumb. It's so fucking funny. It was at the Battle of Solomon? No, it wasn't. Go fuck yourself. Okawara designed this? Fuck off, whatever.
Wow.
Weird.
I guess it's real then. It must be real.
It's so real. It's a Gundam battle operation too. It must be real. Yeah. Oh, it's the first mobile suit that was designed intentionally to be part of a video game first. Interesting. But yeah, that game was cool. I was talking with their staff a little bit, and I asked, because we have a thing in Milwaukee that I always forget about until I see posts about it online. But there's like a yearly, like, Midwest Gaming Classic, I think it's called, where it's like a retro game expo. and it's like a weekend thing. It seems really fun. And I was like, oh, I can't remember how we were talking about, but I was like, oh, do you guys bring your like machines and stuff? They're like, oh yeah, like we supply for the arcade there too. And they're like, have you been there? And I was like, no, I keep missing it every year. And they're like, you gotta go there. So like, I'm gonna try to remember that for next year and see if I can go down, because apparently it's like a fun sort of like, if you like old games, everyone's around just like hanging out, like having a good time, and like it seems neat. So I might try to do that. And also got to, while playing that kind of game, also talked even more G-Quux with people. I randomly, while fighting this guy and having some really sweaty matches, because we were of equivalent skill level, started to discuss how the ending of G-Witch took really disappointing neoliberal turns, and that was oddly satisfying.
we did that 2 years ago, so you can go listen to that.
Yeah. It was even weirder just having that conversation naturally start out of the blue while you're hitting buttons with the guy in a fighting game.
That's
like, because he was like, yeah, I'm really liking G-Quix compared to G-Witch. I was like, yeah, same. And I was like, you know, I liked G-Witch, and like I still kind of like overall like it, but I was really disappointed with the ending of it, with like how they handled the side characters. And he was like, yeah, I really thought they did some of those side characters dirty, and like some of those ideas, I think, went really unsatisfying directions. And I was like, yeah, I didn't care for how a lot of, like, you know, XYZ. And, like, slowly you could tell that we were unraveling each other's political opinions. And then we just kind of dropped the facade and was like, oh, yeah, that was bullshit.
Nice.
It was so cool. But yeah. The other thing, and this is strangely relevant to our podcast.
Okay.
So, one of those mornings, while we were getting ready for the day, I believe it was Saturday, because mostly our tournament shit was done by this point, or if we did have tournament stuff, it was later in the day. We were in the hotel room, waking up slowly, 4 dudes to a hotel room, kind of all groggy. No one wants to be the first to, like, get up and, you know, get ready for the day. We slowly start poking away at showering, brushing our teeth and shit, and like going downstairs for like the free shitty breakfast, all this stuff or whatever. So we're mostly just lounging around before noon, watching TV. It's been a while since I've watched cable television. Like, I kind of associate it with I've been trapped visiting my mom and stepdad at this point. Or I'm over at my aunt's house shooting the shit and watching her get upset at random shows that she gets way too invested in, but you know, I find it kind of endearing. Whom among us hasn't gotten too invested in a show? So while browsing through the channels, we found our way to TLC, which I don't know. This might be a strictly American channel, but it's like where all the trash reality TV goes, including the show Sex Sent Me to the ER. Which is ridiculous, but has become ingrained in our friend group because we watched a little bit of it, and then they did the thing where it cuts to commercial break, but it also has like, oh, the new episode, like here's the preview for it. And it's just a guy going up to like the front desk of like an ER going, my wife can't have an orgasm. And then the guy behind the counter going, that sounds like a you problem. And then it cuts to commercial. And it's maybe the funniest thing we've ever heard in our lives. We were losing it. But then after that, we flipped around. And what was on TV but Peter Jackson's King Kong?
Nice.
Okay.
Which we watched a shocking amount of.
Well, yeah.
That movie's. Yeah, what are we gonna say?
Are we both about to say that movie's really racist?
Yes. That movie is so much more racist than I remembered. Holy shit! Oh my god.
That movie's so the thing about Peter Jackson. The thing about Peter Jackson is all the orc stuff in his Lord of the Rings movies. He was doing that for people before he made those movies, and he just kept doing it afterwards too.
That's what I was gonna say. They like. So I know the famous thing with Peter Jackson and King Kong is like this is his childhood dream film project he always wanted to do, and partially got into directing because he wanted to make this specific movie. And I guess he was a little mad because Lord of the Rings is the one that took off, but he partially did Lord of the Rings in the hopes that like he would finally be able to do his dream project of remaking King Kong.
There's something quaint about like doing all of Lord of the Rings and being like, finally I can make King Kong.
Yeah. He just shoots the Islanders like they're Uruk-hai. Like, it's so bad. A lot of really uncomfortable images of like, yes, we need to grab the white woman and drag her away. Like, it's rough. It's really rough.
Like 60s Godzilla versus King Kong.
So there's some stuff inherent to doing a King Kong movie that you can't really avoid. You can't really avoid the racism in King Kong. Here's the thing: you also don't need to add to it, dude.
Yeah,
you don't need to go that. You seem a little too into it.
Like, it's a lot of slow mo. Like, oh, look at the despair of these white people. It's really uncomfortable.
Would it have been worse if he got to do Planet of the Apes?
May
the thing about Planet of the Apes is Planet of the Apes isn't doing this dynamic like Planet of the Apes is kind of sidestepping the sort of like the same kind of racism we've been encountering with, like, you know, Pacific Islanders in Ultraman in Ultra Q, and then like the same thing in King Kong, right?
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes is Planet of the Apes. Pretty sure what Planet of the Apes.
I should watch those newer movies. They seem like a blast. People love them too. I know, mostly. I think the last one maybe didn't do so hot, but
I've seen the first of the new ones.
I think I may have also seen, and maybe I've only seen part of it. I don't know. I feel like I've seen one of the newer ones, or at least a little bit. But
I guess I have to see another Charlton Heston movie now.
The thing about Charlton Heston is he sucks. His movies rule. He was just a movie star who was in some crazy movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Ben-Hur.
Like Ben-Hur.
And was he the guy who was in Bowling for Columbine as like the old dude?
I don't know. I know he's Soylent Green.
He does.
Yeah.
It's really funny. He shows up in like. Hold on, let me get the picture. Actually, he shows up in an episode of Sequest, which is like, it's the 90s, so I didn't recognize him because he's old. But then it shows a picture of him like, oh, this is him when he ran away from society, when he faked his death like 30 years ago. And it's like, oh wait,
that's Charlton Heston.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. He's in Bowling for Columbine because at the time he was the NRA's president, and Michael Moore is like, hey, well, want to talk about these school shooting stuff at all? And he is like, no. But then also too, at the time, oh my god, this fucking image! I can't deal with this.
Yes,
that's so good. We're currently looking at the comparison between 90s Charlton Heston in Sequest versus the picture of old school Charlton Heston in Sequest.
Yeah. What was that? Oh yeah, no, but yeah, he's in Bowling for Columbine as like the NRA's president, and then I guess Michael Moore got flack at the time because it's like, why are you interviewing this old guy who like barely has it together? And like that complaint seems so quaint in a modern political context.
The other thing I was trying to remember that Charlton Heston's in, he's in the one of the I Am Legend movies.
Oh,
I Am Leg.
I Am Leg.
Yeah. The only other thing I have to... Well, okay, there's two things I have to say about King Kong. Well, okay, three things, actually.
Four things about King Kong.
Yeah. So, number one... No, I can do this in three. Number one...
Okay.
I can't see Adrian Brody without thinking about Brody Quest anymore. It's a real problem.
That's fair.
What the fuck is that guy up to? Like, he's still around, right?
Yeah, he's still making movies, I think. He was in the fucking, wasn't he in the Brutalism? He was in The Brutalist.
I haven't
Isn't he?
seen that. I don't know.
It was a movie, 2024, big deal.
It was like Grand Budapest Hotel, and then I'm like, I don't know what he did after that.
Who is? Oh, he's great in Grand Budapest Hotel.
He is great in Preamble Section.
Yeah.
I thought I was gay. You are. You're bisexual.
Let's see what else. Number 2. Jack Black shockingly does he's cast in the producer role partially because that character is a bit over the top and silly.
But it's not a joke.
It's not a joke, and he does a shockingly good job being a shitty producer, man. I was
It's
like,
funny.
damn.
It's funny thinking about that. Thinking about him being in Tropic Thunder later.
Yeah. Every time I think about Jack Black, I'm always gonna think about Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. But then also he kind of threw Kyle Gass under the fucking bus, so fuck him.
Chicken Jockey though.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then number 3. What the fuck is that ice skating scene doing in that movie right at the climax?
Oh,
They just stopped the movie.
King Kong and the woman go ice skating.
She's really into it.
Yeah.
It's such a weird inclusion.
It's like there are 3 there are like 3 King Kong movies, right? There's the original King Kong where no one notices that King Kong was in love with the woman except for the producer right at the end. There's the 70s version where the woman and the Adrian Brody equivalent realize, and then there's Peter Jackson's King Kong where the woman realizes and is also into it.
So big brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, all right, Peter. That's all right.
It had the same vibe as the John Peters giant spider needs to show up in the 3rd act thing, where it's like you really wanted the scene of this movie. Any other context be damned.
I see.
Have y'all seen the clip of the Kevin Smith talking about the fucking giant spider in the 3rd act of the Superman movie, right?
I think I've seen this a long time ago.
It's a good it's a phenomenal clip of just like it is clearly a story being told as like part of a comedic like Q&A thing done by Kevin Smith, but also I 100% believe that this is how Hollywood movies get actually made, is like you get random people with way too much money going, oh, we need like, can you get like an R2-D2 in this movie but also make him kind of gay? And like just like asking for really random shit.
Imagine going, yeah, let's put an R2-D2 in the movie and make him kind of gay. He's already gay. He's gay with C-3PO.
True.
This is average discussion in AMCA.
Yeah.
And then those are all 3. Those are all 3 of my points.
Okay.
Cool.
I overall, going back around to the fucking broader lens of the story, Combo Breaker, fun time. A little disappointed as a competitor, but also like, yeah, you know, when you have randomly seated like, you know, brackets where it's like double elimination after 2 games you're out, like that's how it goes sometimes. You can't always win them. So, and again, technically on paper, I did pretty well, especially like, you know, I did in line with how I normally do. It's just the actual like playing of the video game didn't happen as much. So it is what it is. I did apply some of the lessons I learned from Tekken Casuals, like, just into my play and immediately shot up an entire new rank in Tekken 8, so I'm gonna keep at it. That game is still kind of dog water right now, but I'm gonna stick with it in the hopes it slowly gets better over time. They have replaced the balancing team. So, We'll see how that goes. But the last thing, speaking of video games, Nightreign came out.
Yeah, I saw you playing that at 11:30 a.m. your time.
Yep.
Last night.
Yeah, that was I had some work straggling at the end of the month I needed to get done, and then I hopped on and played some Nightreign with my friend Trick.
One thing I want to ask is, do we realize we're nearly at an hour in?
Oh yeah, I can make it quick. I can make it quick.
Okay.
Nightreign. So I'm gonna be honest. I at first was like, I'll wait on this one. I don't really need to play this. And then I learned it was $40, and I went, oh, fuck it. Like, sure, I don't mind if my other friends are picking it up too. It just feels like a fan mod, but official, and I kind of like that, actually. I kind of wish that other companies had stuff like this, maybe more.
Oh, you mean like the PS2 era?
A little bit, yeah. Like, it's weird because, like, it all, like, in the same way that when Scholar of the First Sin came out, people were like, oh, this just feels like a weird, like, ROM hack almost, but, like, it's official and real and, like, a full thing that you pay for. This feels like, oh boy, we sure do got a lot of these assets, and, like, what if we just made, like, a whole multiplayer, like, game thing out of it? And, like, it does feel kind of jank in certain parts, like, it feels like, oh, like, you know, just random, like, repurposed menus and areas and locales and stuff like that to put something together. It's weird seeing shit like, oh, it's time to go to this little area and fight this boss. Oh, here's a slightly remastered Gaping Dragon from Dark Souls 1 model just running around this field. Or here's the Duke's Dear Freya just kind of randomly in the middle of this spot here. But it's cool. The first run we did as like a full friend group, like my two friends Jake and Trick were doing some games with randoms and apparently having a miserable time. But as soon as we all queued up together as three people that are at least competent at Souls games, we just defeated the first run, like, right away. We did that shit.
Nice.
We unlocked, you can unlock the other two classes shortly after. I think you have to do your first run, but, like, they have the Duchess, who is kind of like Bloodborne, but, like, also kind of like D&D rogue, like, she's going invisible for, like, doing extra attacks and shit. And then there's the Revenant, who is like, what if we just did all of the Spirit Ash shit as, like, its own dedicated, like, summoner class, almost, who is really cool, but the trade-off is that she's really squishy, like, she dies really fast, especially early game. Yeah, it's fun. I'm having a good time with it. I know it's gonna not be a bunch of people's cups of tea. Like, I don't really mind it as, like, a very obvious, like, side thing that they're doing that's like, hey, this is, like, a quick thing we can make, and, like,
you know, something to make money in between their massive hits.
Yeah, because I remember they said, like, they were like, we shouldn't do another Elden Ring again, at least in a row.
Yeah, it's fun as a tiny little, like, experimental thing. It does, I do have a few things that I'm like, about. I know they're talking more about, like, based on the reception they have received, maybe expanding some of the multiplayer options and balancing to, like, maybe support duos more, or, like, even, like, make it a little more possible to do, like, solo type stuff even. I know the duos, I think they said they want to figure out a solution for. I don't know if they did anything about, like, people who just want to play solo, but I know they're looking into some of that stuff. I think that it's kind of baffling they didn't think that there would be anyone who would want to play with just one other person while making this game. Then the other thing too, which I'm like, come on, you definitely have the money for this, is, like, why is there no crossplay? It's because, like, I have people in my life who, like, they're playing this shit on PS5, and, like, our friend group is a little bit split between who can play with who, and that kind of sucks a little bit. So it's like, it's not like they don't have the money. Yeah. But I'm having a good time. I'll probably be playing a lot of this, so I'll report back. Nimi is on Melania.
Multiple streams.
Yeah, and I'm like, I should get back and finish
Did
that
you ever
game.
get to Melania?
I got to Melania, I never beat her.
He's right. Here's the right. Melania's not a good boss.
She's not. She's really not.
It's really. It's not. It's just.
I've had
not good.
I've had very in-depth conversations with friends about this, and I think the thing we boiled down to is she has 3 really bullshit things that if she just had one of those, that fight would be fine.
Yeah.
But it's the fact she has all 3 of them overlapping, like the health stuff, the rot, the waterfowl, that like it's too much. It's too much.
For me, it's the waterfowl dance. It was just like I need to have the like bloodhound step on a weapon to deal with this, because like otherwise I can, and like, you know,
there was a
very
point
frustrating.
where I got enough of a flow with that fight to, with like a 90% chance of accuracy, I would say, predict when she was about to do it and start running the opposite way. But that does also open up to the other big complaint about Elden Ring bosses, is sometimes their strings are so long, the solution is to just run away and not actually have to dodge or really react to things, and that can feel a little boring.
It's just I just think you shouldn't have to have that much vitality to survive to getting hit by the boss once.
Yeah,
you know, 3-star video game. Anyway,
It'll be a 5-star when I'm done with it.
will it now?
Yeah, I like that game a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
So much so that I haven't beaten it because I'm like, I need to save this for the ideal time in life.
I'll probably never play it, but I'll
exactly.
consider it a 4-star game.
I'm gonna beat.
Oh, no,
I'm gonna
there we
see.
go.
I'm gonna hit credits on Elden Ring while like my first child is being born. And I'll be like,
Oh,
"Damn,
I
son."
see. That's the ideal
Yeah.
time to finish
Yeah,
Elden
like,
Ring.
Yeah.
Damn, son, you're like the second best thing that's happened to me today.
and then I'll come in and say, "Oh, what a sweet baby boy." Anyway, we should go finish Abyss now.
Tales of the Abyss stream on forever hiatus because Brad became a family man. I'm not expecting
Wow.
a child, for anyone wondering. Just I realized that this could be insinuating things. This isn't in the. Don't worry about it.
Time to kidnap a child and
That's
give
related.
that child to Brad.
Yeah.
All right.
Mel,
What was that? Everything?
that's everything.
Mel, what you been up to?
Hello, I've finished 2 lengthy shows that I'm picking away at
Okay.
for reasons. First of all, I finished some surreal Showa era British toku, because I finished The Prisoner.
A
The
classic that I
1967
somehow
show.
haven't seen.
I have also not seen The Prisoner. I've listened to the Iron Maiden song about The Prisoner.
I have also listened to the Iron Maiden song by The Prisoner.
Not a prisoner. I'm a
He's
free man.
He's not a number.
I am number 2. You are number 6.
And yet,
Number 15.
Shut the fuck up!
yeah, so it's about it's a show created by Patrick McGowan, who played a spy in a long-running show called Danger Man. Maybe it was not that long-running, but it had a lot of episodes. Apparently localized in the US as Secret Agent Man, which is where that theme song comes from.
Secret Agent Man?
Yeah.
Is that where the song comes from?
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the opening theme for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I just thought it was a song about a secret agent man. I never knew.
Yeah, me either.
Me looking at the title of a show called Danger Man and going, This just isn't going to translate well to a North American audience. We need to change this to sound to something else. We're going to call it Secret Agent Man. Fuck off. What?
Oh, okay, I do have to... It was just retitled Secret Agent in the United States.
Okay, so
it wasn't Secret Agent Man.
But the lyrics of the song,
reduced DEFCON level.
but the lyrics of the song say Secret Agent Man.
That is true.
The other thing is presumably the British cartoon Danger Mouse is a parody of Danger Man.
You know what? Probably. But anyway,
it's like that might be the most British thing I've ever brought up here. I don't know if either of you have ever heard.
I feel like I might have.
I've heard of it. I couldn't tell you what it is or what it's about.
Okay.
But,
Danger Mouse is about a secret agent mouse with an eye patch who lives in a postbox.
Okay. Anyway, The Prisoner. It's like a show that he made when he got fed up of making Danger Man, and decided to make something weird. It's basically about like he's an unnamed secret agent who quits for reasons we never find out, but it's presumed to be like crisis of conscience. But he gets like the opening intro that's just shown in like every episode is he gets like basically put to sleep and dragged to a weird, mysterious, isolated place called the Village, where everyone's given a number, and he's called number 6. And the person who runs the Village is a rotating, as in new guy each episode. So sometimes they bring back an old guy, a guy called number 2, and each number 2 has like the plan of the week to try and break number 6, and sort of like, okay, why did you retire, or just just try and get him like. Because there's all like number 6 is like, oh, I'm an individual. I'm not gonna conform to this constructed society. And meanwhile, the number 2 is like, well, we're gonna break you and we're gonna make you a good citizen of this society. Patrick Ewing may be a libertarian, but yeah, it's a nifty show. Had some production issues, so it does have like a case of like it was going to have 13 episodes, and then they at first extended it to 2 13-episode seasons, and then cut it back down to 17 episodes in one season. And so there's definitely some episodes where it's like, we ran out of ideas.
Nice.
Maybe not the best episodes, but they're some of the wildest ones. And all sorts of just like, it's like a nifty take on like spy stuff where it's just like, this is a weird place. A lot of like fancy dream logic almost working in some places. There's a giant floating bubble called Rover who like eats people.
Yes.
And yeah, there's like some weird. There's like plots like, oh, we're gonna brainwashing. We're gonna try like force number 6 to like run in the election and see if that makes him like just through bewilderment, just to makes him like on our side kind of thing. Things like that. And then like the final episode gets into like a real weird like mindfuck territory. And it's starting allegorical shit, and it's kind of like, damn, this is crazy. And it's all definitely like a lot of like some episodes of mixed quality, like not every episode's a banger, but like overall it's a pretty cool and nifty show. And
very surreal and strange. I have only seen one episode of The Prisoner. You have told me it's like the least Prisoner episode of The Prisoner.
Yeah, it feels, from what I've heard, it's like people consider like this is more like a parody of a Danger Man episode, and the premise for the episode may have been like a leftover for someone wanted to do like a really silly Danger Man episode.
I see.
And it was definitely made as a part of the show where it's like they ran out of ideas.
I see.
But it's a funny episode.
You have been poisoned.
Yeah. For context, Brad is like, he's like trying to track down something, and he's drinking beer.
A pint.
Yeah, and like there's like a message at the bottom of the glass, and he keeps drinking to reveal the rest of it, and then eventually when he finishes, like, you've just been poisoned.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I want to watch The Prisoner, but for some reason I realize I can just do it whenever I want to.
Yeah.
But I don't. You know.
Of all the British TV in the world, that's probably the one I'm most likely to check out.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Not Doctor Who. The way it's going lately.
Well, I think I've said this on the podcast before when Doctor Who has come up, but I associate with Doctor Who with too many annoying people.
Oh yeah, like the Dalek guy.
Yeah, like the Dalek guy. Fuck that guy.
Who is the Dalek guy? What are you?
The Dalek guy was someone who kept spamming a Dalek emote that he added to our Discord server, and then one of my other friends got fed up and deleted it, and he threw like a temper tantrum that lasted an entire night, and was maybe one of several incidents that resulted in that guy getting politely asked to maybe leave our friend group.
I see.
Yeah.
Doctor Who, not Prisoner level. Prisoner's a classic.
Yeah.
Both of my parents are like, yeah, you should. Every time I say I should watch The Prisoner, they're both like, yeah, you should watch the fucking Prisoner.
Yeah.
I think my only experience with British TV really is Threads.
You watched an episode of Thunderbirds?
Oh shit, that's That's like Universal TV in a way.
It's like it's British, but there is a degree to which every trace of weeb left my body when I realized how important Thunderbirds is to like all the anime I like. I was like, oh, I've been a fan of
Thunderbirds is your wizardry.
Thunderbirds is my wizardry. I was like watching mecha shows and going, oh, this is all actually British. Thank you. This is mine. Thank you. Anyway, yes.
Yeah. The other thing is, Around the Longfire has been doing an interesting season lately.
But okay, Berlin Alexanderplatz.
Yes.
Okay. I know you. This has been happening for a while because everyone read the book.
Yes, I read in preparation for the season. I read the book, and then there was the first episode of the season was like the 1931 movie, which came out 2 years after the book. But the bulk of the season has been like the 14 episode miniseries, which sometimes describes more as a movie in 14 parts.
I see.
By what's his name? Because it's a guy who I didn't know, but apparently is a pretty famous German filmmaker. Rainer Werner Fassbender.
Okay.
That is a name I do not recognize.
I will say, the season is going to end with there's a 2020 movie that's a bit more modern, but I haven't seen it yet. I just finished the miniseries because like this is the bulk of it. But yeah, it's like I read the novel and I watched all that. The novel's basically about like a guy named Franz Bieberkopf who he's released from jail because he did a bit of a second-degree murder, and now he's out and he's like, I'm gonna live clean, I'm gonna be a good man, and proceeds to do a poor job of actually doing that as more personal tragedies happen to him, and gets wrapped up back in like crime stuff, but also a lot of like what makes the book kind of unique is just like so the book is, by the way, just by it's by Alfred Doblin. It's from 1929, so it's like it is a Weimar Republic book set contemporaneously.
Yeah, so like one of the things I know about this book is that people there are Nazis in it.
Yeah, and for a while, like because Franz is a guy who doesn't actually believe anything, and he's just like gets kind of convinced to like sell Nazi newspapers for a bit. And he's like, some of his Jewish friends like, hey, why are you wearing the armband? Like, what's up with that? And he's like, no, it doesn't mean anything. I'm just, they have some decent ideas about like Law and Order, but it's not this other stuff. I don't care about that stuff. And of course, it's like the book was written when like a lot of the Nazis and the communist stuff is like happening, like they're fighting the streets then when the book's being written. And so that like adds texture to the context of the book, where it's also like, yeah, the shit kind of sucks for a lot of people in Weimar because the economy is bad. And, a lot of people are fucked up from the war. And so there's like lots of things of like, oh yeah, do people who lost their limbs in war deserve welfare? Some people are saying.
Yeah.
But also a lot of the book is like Berlin is a character of the book in a way. And it may have actually been one of the first novels to really like have like Berlin as a setting, insanely enough. At least this was some of the translators notes afterwards says, because it's like a new translation. Where
No.
Yes, Francis has to change his helmet.
Shut the fuck up. I was the moment you said a new translation and then there was an ominous silence, I was like, no. You workshopping a joke? No.
It's the same joke each time too.
I know.
But yeah, it's funny. I think the translator is probably, I think it's a good translator of British, and I think it kind of reflects in like the audiobook, because there's a lot of like translating some like the casual style of a lot of like the later like lower class turn to life of crime people kind of like translating the German into like a kind of sort of like, I guess like maybe like a Cockney style. Maybe it's different like
that's
accent,
funny.
But
all right, yeah.
But there's a lot of like those kind of like, and also the person reading the audiobook was also British. But yeah, a lot
You're telling me is Berlin Alexanderplatz is Xenobladified.
Yeah. I think my grandfather had a Cockney accent.
Oh, nice.
But yeah. So basically, like a lot of the book has a lot of like non sequiturs and cutaways where it's like describing in a really dense way like stuff about the city. Like, oh, here's like we're just gonna talk about a whole bunch of like newspaper ads that are just like around, or like here's a couple arguing about their thing. Here's like half this chapter is a long monologue about like the slaughterhouse industry in Germany, and that's like going back and forth between like really like intimate, uncomfortable, violent detail, and then juxtaposing it with like, oh, this is statistic stuff, like, oh, this many are slaughtered in this many calves are slaughtered, this many pigs are slaughtered, and this feeds this contributes to the beef industry, etc., kind of thing. And so it's just like a style of like the vibe of the book is like, it's not necessarily always like necessarily quote unquote relevant to like Franz's own story, but also kind of like there's ways it ties into stuff. Like there's like a lot of the slaughterhouse as well as like biblical imagery, like talk about like the Whore of Babylon or the Book of Job, stuff trying to like do the arc of the narrative, the emotional narrative. There's a lot of stuff about like like halfway through the book there's like a character who gets introduced who ends up becoming one of like basically the second most important character of the book. And one thing that's interesting about the miniseries is that like something I didn't really pick up on, but like the post of Alf kind of said, is that there's a lot of like there's like a queerness energy to the book, especially when like there's like weird stuff that gets brought up between certain characters, but also some of the energy between like Franz and this secondary character named Reinhold, who's like I'm not to spoil it, it's just a really toxic friendship that goes really, really quote unquote friendship that goes really, really bad.
Okay. And
there's definitely a queerness reading you can get into it that apparently noted bisexual Fassbender really latched onto when he made his 1980 miniseries, which I'll just say, first of all, when I watched the 1931 movie, fast turnaround, only 90 minutes. It's a really pretty lengthy, dense book. I was like, I don't know how they're gonna fit that into 90 minutes. And frankly, they don't. It's pretty brief, but at the time when I first read it, first watched it, I was like, oh, they do some montage theory stuff to like get some sort of that feel. They get all the major plot beats. It's a valiant effort for what they're trying to do in that time. And then I watched the first episode of the miniseries, which the first episode alone, which covers chapter 1, is the same length as the 1931 movie. And I'm like, this is not a contest at all. this is crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, there's a lot. It's the 1980s series, so it's like tail end of like the Cold War. Last decade of sort of like before German unification. And now it's like, whereas in 1929, the struggle between the Nazis and the communists is a contemporary thing, but there is, it's still Weimar. No one's taken power yet. Now in the 1980s, it's all happened.
Now it's not a. Yeah, there's like a level. I don't know. Something interesting that is drawing me to this book is just the idea of writing about the Nazis in the same way that like someone British right now could write about like like very right wing
like UKIP,
like parties in UKIP. Well, at the moment it's Reform.
Oh, okay.
You could write about Reform. Yeah. Because like it hasn't really happened yet.
Yeah, like the people like who are like in the SNL skits about Trump in 2015 kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's definitely it definitely has a different energy because of that.
But yes, 1981. That shit's all gone down now.
Yeah. Please don't look up how many former Nazis were in the 1955 West German Parliament. By the way. Anyway. But anyway. Yeah. So this is a. This is a lengthy series. It's like 14 episodes. Each one's like an hour long, except for the first one, which is 90 minutes, and the last one, which is like 112. So the last one's called an epilogue.
Okay.
And that's in a way it's because it's doing something different. But yeah, it's a lot of like it's going through the beats, and there's like using the space to try and cleverly work in the different sequiturs of the book. Like we'll have like cutaway sequences, not Family Guy style, where showing like the slaughterhouse stuff. You'll have like sometimes where it's like, oh, this is just like an excerpt from a book about like erectile dysfunction medication or something. You'll have just like a sex worker like reading it to Franz, or like some of the Horror of Babylon like stuff that's just inserted in. It's like for some reason Franz walked into like the weird like red light district corner, which has the set design of Robot Hell from Futurama, basically. And then like one of the prostitutes or pimps there just like tells him the Horror of Babylon stuff. And a lot of the gayness with Franz and Reinhold are like amped up, especially in the epilogue, to a crazy degree. Because the epilogue, like the kind of like the end, the last part of the book is kind of like a lot of, after basically everything goes to shit, Franz goes through has like a moment where he's like basically ego death as he like reflects on everything and like has to like mentally like bring himself from the brink, but as like a new person kind of thing. And the way that the epilogue does this is basically by going just like fucking end of Evangelion episode 25 to 26 mode.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Which I guess is like weird resonance with the end of The Prisoner almost.
I was about to say, I feel like that you're 2 for 2.
Yeah. I was just like, I think it'd be fun to finish these in the same week as and like I almost like did the finales back to back, and then my friend Penny was like, "That's a bad idea. Yeah, I think you need to let them sit a bit individually." So I did like one day after the other instead. That was a good call because it's a lot. But yeah, I definitely it's very long series, but also very good. Really engaging, good acting. And there's some interesting changes done as well, where like in like the book, like the first half, Franz has a friend named Mech who like he's basically like his best bud, but also like kind of disappears from the narrative like halfway through. And one thing that the miniseries does is like there's like it basically keeps Mech around and also like gives him the role of like a particular like less noteworthy, but like less noteworthy in terms of like who he is as a person, but more like what he does is integral to the plot, and like kind of gives Mech that role, which kind of like adds some complications to the narrative and the relationship between him and Franz. I think that stuff is good. And there's like one episode where like near the end where the climatic thing happens. It's like a really gut-wrenching thing, and of course the entire episode is like we're gonna spend 50 minutes building up to this one moment, and it's over in a flash kind of thing. So you just spend that 50 minutes miserable waiting for it to happen. But yeah, it's a really well done series. For some reason, when you live in Berlin, everything is brown, like a 7th gen shooter. But I guess that's just the vibe they're going for. But yeah, very good. Glad to be done with it because it's been a while. I've been in this a while because
I like that I now know what color Berlin is.
Yeah.
Like Mexico is yellow, Berlin is brown.
Yeah, it's like sepia.
Yeah. Now, if London, that would be gray.
Yeah. Not like black and white because that'd be cool, but it's like
no, not black, like dreary. Yeah, miserable. Not miserable. Miserable's too interesting. A little bit disappointing.
Here's an example.
Current screenshots from Berlin Alexanderplatz. Yeah.
So
this is what Berlin looks like.
Yeah, it's just exactly what Berlin. I think they had to they rebuilt a set. They built a set that meant. I think there was because it's like a Criterion collection. I legally acquired. Which incidentally, the Criterion collection for the miniseries also includes the 31 movie, so that's fun.
That's fun. I always like when they do stuff like that.
But also, there was a making of feature. It's like apparently there's one of the. This was probably the most expensive German production at the time. Berlin is changed a bit since 1929, so we do have to rebuild a 20s ass looking set for this series. Yeah, it's it's pretty good. It's also pretty wild, but definitely recommendable.
Nice.
But also the book is also recommendable, and I'll see later how the new movie is. But I'm also it could be doing interesting things, but it's also it's 2 hours, so there's limitations, and it's hard to make a new version of a thing when there's kind of a version that's there's already the definitive version in a way. Even if it focuses on things that maybe not everyone else would have, but
yeah,
that's me. Oh yeah, one last thing. I watched the newest episode of Idol Precure this morning. Remains to be seen how the show fares against Wonderful, but there's the team's grown as of this episode. There's some new girls, and things are gayer than I could have anticipated this season. I don't know. It's crazy. I was floored by this episode. and like I won like 2 weeks ago. But that's all I'll say, because presumably Red will.
Yeah,
get
I'll
around to these episodes.
catch up. I've got to put in some effort.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
But before we begin, this is still starting the Ultraman segment. One, just by coincidence, I checked. Do you know which episode? This is the anniversary of us recording today.
No.
Like as close to. A game changer. Zoffy is here.
I see.
Oh, how the game's changed.
How the game has changed.
So happy 1 year to hear Zoffy.
Happy 1 year to hear Zoffy. All right. Well,
I guess like the other one is, do you have any specific thoughts about last time?
oh, the finale of Ultraman Leo. So I really liked the first episode. I'm blanking on what it was, but I liked it. What was it?
It was a mirror one. Mirror mom.
The mirror one, yes.
Yeah.
I really like the mirror one. As you can tell, by just like from a brief bit of my summary where I took a break from summarizing the plot to just be like, yo, the landscape.
Yeah.
Then the two-parter, I was like, the first part, I was like, yeah, this is good. And then the second part, and they were like, oh, it's not actually his brother. And I was like, that's kind of shit. But I also think it's kind of weird that at the end of this two-parter, Leo is just, Gen's just like, yeah, we'd love to join the Ultra Brothers. Why? They just try to kill your brother at the drop of a hat. I mean, it wasn't your brother, but, I think they try to kill you. They were going to kill you.
Astra, more like this writing his ass.
Draw.
Having the opposite trajectory as Renton aboard Gecko State.
Mm-hmm. However,
yeah,
I'm glad we all enjoyed the key.
The key.
The key was so much.
It's just the fact that when he's like talking about it being used as a weapon, and I'm imagining like kind of, I don't know what I was imagining, but
like
then
it being used to turn something that then fires and not the key itself, actually.
Not
like
just that,
blade?
but also just like even if it was just like used as a staff or something, or like, I don't know, but it's the moment he tucks it in and like cocks it like a gun, and I was losing my, and also
it's the 1-2 punch of that, and then also the planet explodes.
Yes, but also the music that's like while Dan is speaking about it just cuts out immediately so that the father of Ultra could blast this planet with the key. I was watching that on a train, and I had to pause the video and put down my phone for a little bit to try to get composure of myself so I wasn't dying of laughter on the train.
Yeah, I had to pause because I was like, this is making me laugh.
It was so good. Incredible. Otherwise, I'm just kind of. I was, it was nice to listen. Obviously, we got to get all of our thoughts.
Yeah.
But it was nice to listen to the podcast and have you two just disagree and talk about it without me being there to like be like, oh, I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm going to mediate. Well, I thought that was good. So yeah.
Known centrist Red.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Every time I've ever seen Red, they're always sitting on a fence. It's really weird. You're gonna fall.
Yeah, that's me.
If there's one thing we associate with the color red, it's like centrism.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The Republicans need to give that color back. Now, there's no one to give it back to, but it is rude that they have it.
It is just one of those things where, for some reason, they just, by a weird quirk, I think it was specifically Gore versus Bush. It happened because there wasn't like an actual thing before that. It just kind of became that way, and everyone is like, why?
Yeah.
Also, elephants don't deserve that.
That's true. All right.
Yeah.
Now, I got some summaries here.
Yeah.
For 3 episodes of Ultraman Leo. We're starting with episode 1, the terrifying saucer creature series, Mac Annihilated, The Flying Saucer is Alive, featuring the saucer creature Silverbloom and Commander Black. When I put on the episode and it flashed up the terrifying saucer creature series, I was like, I can't believe you've done this to me. This
I got news for you about that. We'll get to it.
Okay. Troubles are brewing at Black Star. A terrifying saucer creature called Silverbloom is launched from Black Star and heads towards the Earth. Meanwhile, Mac are celebrating an officer's birthday. Dan has an awful mustache, and everything is just
it's so
wild.
bad.
It's a terrible mustache.
I think it reminds me of when like the vice captain of Zat had a mustache for like 2 episodes and then it was gone.
Oh yeah.
Do you think he started growing it with the knowledge, I'm not going to be in this shit for a bit?
He might have done.
Maybe.
He might have done. Then Mac dies. Silverbloom arrives and tears its way into Mac base. Dan orders an evacuation, but the fleeing officers get eaten by Silverbloom, like crunched up while screaming.
And like there's lots of digestive juices everywhere.
Yes. Gen tries to get Dan to flee too, but Dan insists on going down with Mac. He tells Gen, "Never forget you are Leo. Your life isn't yours to live. Now go." And then the lights go out and Dan is gone. Gen escapes alone and Mac is no more. On Earth, a guy dressed in black with a wide-brimmed hat and a cane is generally aura farming. This is Commander Black, our new recurring villain. He is the one controlling Silverbloom. Toru, Momoko, and Kaoru, and also the young guy from the sports center whose name it's Takashi, right?
Also, I don't think is Toru there.
Oh, Toru's not there. It's Momoko,
Yeah, that's
Kaoru. Right, you are correct. Important detail.
I think it's Takashi. Yeah.
Yeah, they're out shop. Well, we won't have to remember for long. They're out shopping when Silverbloom attacks. Everyone disappears in the destruction of a toy shop, and a doll repeats its one line that it can say in like this creepy fashion. Silverbloom's initial attack ends. Gen finds Toru, and they search a makeshift hospital for everyone else. Instead, they find the list of
Henry
casualties.
Rollins might be here.
Instead, they find the list of casualties. Momoko and Kaoru and that one guy, Takashi, are dead. They hit us with this dramatic moment, and then they hit us with the tone shift. Gen and Toru get adopted into the Miami family. There's the mother, who is a nurse. There's the older daughter, who's a college student, and there's the younger daughter, who is in the same class as Toru. So the 2 boys have been assigned a new mother and a girlfriend each.
This floored me.
I wasn't prepared for this.
I can't believe they've done it again. They've killed the women and gave them new ones.
And to even hit home, so the scene, like, you see her looking at the 2 boys as they look at the list of casualties on the wall with, like, this motherly, sad, like, oh, if only I could do something for them, like, look.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to, oh, we're living with the nurse now.
and like they've been living there for a while, because they're not going to continue to be sad about Momoko and Kaoru. They're over that.
No. There is no weight to the grief of this.
I will say, I think episode 3 does this a little bit. It's not like explicit, but I think it's there.
Which one's episode? We'll
get to
which
that.
one's episode 3?
Yeah.
That one. Oh, that's interesting. We will talk about that when we get there. I'm interested to hear about this, but yes, we're So reset, new show. This is a new TV show. This is a new Ultraman. And here's the thing. It's a pretty good Ultraman. Some kids in Toru's class find a mini...
That's the thing I'm struggling with.
They find a mini thing. It's like some kind of shell, but it feels like it's alive. It's cool. So they grab it on their way to school, and one puts it in his locker. When the kid tries to check on the creature, he finds it somehow made its way to the classroom. Everyone argues over what it is and what to do with it, and Toru is, with Toru declaring that's clearly an alien that has to be eliminated. The teacher intervenes and says he'll run some tests on it later. Oh, okay. After school has ended and night has fallen, this teacher tries to run tests.
I don't think night has fallen.
Has not.
I thought this at first, but I think it's just a thunderstorm because like everyone is still in school when it's happening.
Oh, it's a thunderstorm. That's what's happening. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it took me a bit because I was also confused because it also looks like it's night. That was my first.
Very dark. So there's a thunderstorm. Teacher runs some tests, puts it on like a Bunsen burner, and it immediately melts him into goop. Just kills him. And then it grows into the giant silver bloom and starts wrecking the school. Gen appears, turns into Leo, lets the teachers rescue some students, and then explodes silver bloom. Everyone cheers for Leo. Mac is gone, but our hero remains. And then Commander Black summons Black Star Unit 2. Next time on Ultraman, Leo versus Black Doom. At the end.
Maybe they discovered how to write television in the last 12 episodes of the show where they made a new show.
And they were just like, well, we're just going to reset. Why did they get rid of Momoko and Kaoru?
Okay, so let me first say, I knew this was the thing I got spoiled on when I did production history for Leo, was that Mac got annihilated.
Yes.
And that was the singular...
This was spoiled when I looked at the episode title, Mac is annihilated.
yes. And I will also say, that was the singular thing about this episode that got spoiled.
Everything else was a surprise?
Yeah.
Excellent. So yeah, Mac gets wiped off the board. I guess we might find out why. Maybe Mel knows and can tell us.
Yes.
For now, I'm left to just kind of go, huh?
I didn't. I really hate this episode. I'm gonna be honest. I had a visceral negative reaction to everything about this episode.
It's just like, I'm like, okay. Things I like. I like the flying saucer.
Yeah.
I love this thing.
It's cool. It looks neat.
I think this thing's cool. I like it destroying Mac base. I like how it's very 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea type shit with like tentacles coming in through the windows.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe it's like helps that I knew about it, but like I don't dislike the annihilation of Mac as an idea.
I do in the sense that I'm like, well, yeah, kill them off. They haven't fucking mattered this entire show.
Yeah, that's also why.
Like I felt nothing, and that like kind of sucks to me. Where it's like. The effects look cool, but, like, I'm gonna be honest, I could not tell you if that lady whose birthday party they're celebrating has been in this show before.
I made a conscious decision. I was about to write down her name in the summary, and then I consciously deleted it and went, that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't. I don't know who she is.
We don't know who that is.
she probably has been here. It's just we didn't. Mac has not mattered, so we just don't know.
So we don't. We don't care. Yeah. No one cares.
Because what sucks to me is like in most of the other shows, this would have been like a holy shit moment that like really meant it's like, oh fuck, everyone's dead. Mm-hmm. But because it's been such a joke for, like, the show, I'm just like, well, yeah, of course.
The one tool they have available to them is horror, in the sense of, like, they make it kind of, like they can shoot this like this is like a crazy thing that's happening, where they have all the people getting fucking eaten by the flying saucer, and it's like this screaming and crunching of teeth and stuff. It's in that sense, it's similar to how something I always, because people are always saying like, the End of Ava is like be invoked, but that one of the things about End of Ava being be invoked is that it's not an ensemble. Evangelion is not an ensemble cast show, and so they can't kill a named character every like 10 minutes. and then just keep going. And so what they'd have to do instead to reach that same like tone of like the attack on the solo ship is they just have fucking oceans of blood as nameless mooks get murked. And they just have to dial up what the violence is to make it more uncomfortable, in a way that they wouldn't have to if they had named characters that you cared about, that you could kill off in the way that Be Invoked has. And so that's kind of a criticism I have of End of Ava is like it's going for Be Invoked and it doesn't have the tool set that it needs to be invoked. And this kind of has a similar problem where it's like, well, I mean, first of all, presumably for some reason, outside of creative intent, they have to get rid of Mac.
Yeah.
And their methods for doing it is like, well, no one knows who any of these people are, so we just have to kind of turn up the dial on like how it goes down.
And also, Dan dies. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that.
I think we all take as a given he's going to show up again in a future thing. But the question I want to raise...
I'm not unconvinced he's going to show up again in this show.
Yeah, that was the question I have. Is like, are we? I was actually surprised he disappeared, so I was like, is he going to show again? I want to place the bets. I want to place the bets.
I assume he's going to show up at the end of the show, and it's going to be like a you did it again. I left you on your own. It was like a test. You had to learn. You had to go. You had to strike out on your own. Your final step of becoming an ultra for real was to leave my mentorship.
Yeah, it's kind of similar vibe. I think we'll see him somewhere in the end.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably my guess at the moment, because it feels like it'd be crazy to not have him in the rest of the show at all after this, but maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who knows?
This is also maybe more unfair, but I couldn't help but think, remember the Ultra 7 episode with the spaceship attack? A lot of the stuff of like the monster coming through the windows and stuff, I'm just like, we're just doing that again.
That was Bemstar in Return of Ultraman, I think.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah.
And like,
that one was...
I do think that's maybe
and also Bemstar in Taro.
I think this is maybe something that like is just going to be a thing, maybe more so for us than anyone else, because watching 3 episodes a week. But like, there is a point where like there is diminishing returns on like, oh, I've seen this exact setup or shot or effect before used for something prior.
Yeah.
And maybe the second go around, it's not always hitting that same way. But if I was a child and these were years apart, I would clearly not be having those thoughts, right? So
I also think it's a shame because
I'll go for it.
I was going to say, I think this is like a better executed special effects wise. Like, it's just more horrific and interesting to look at special effects wise than Bemster, but because it is like the 3rd time we've seen it, and that doesn't lessen the impact. Even if it's
I'm going to admit to giving into jingling keys when Matt got annihilated. I was like, hell yeah.
Oh, that's fine. It shot well.
Yeah.
I think maybe I don't rate the Bemstar episode, so like I don't remember Bemstar really.
We were
Bemstar's the episode where he gets Ultra 7, he gets the bracelet or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
From Ultra 7, and I'm like, all right, jerk off motion.
See, I do remember Bemstar.
Yeah, he runs out the
because
diner.
of the spaceship attack being cool and not much else.
Yeah. Well, we've got a recurring bad guy, new recurring bad guy added.
He looks cool.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him.
He's full on Orson Welles F for fake walking around and cool hat and cloak.
They did a good job, and they're really committing to like he's gonna be around because he's at the end of every episode going, summon my bad guy.
I will not be defeated again. Yes, you will. I summon Black Star Unit 2.
Yeah.
And then they have a cooler name. Well, to be honest, Black Star Unit number is maybe a cooler name than Absorver.
Well,
I love to absorb.
Yeah.
Then we got Karu, Momoko.
Yeah, this is more of like an actual matters emotionally.
Yeah, this one like matters. I think the death is like well made, but
yeah,
also it's just like this. They don't have the time. They just got to do this immediate gear shift into new show.
This is the thing that is like weird in my brain, where I'm like, they want to do this, but also do they lack the imagination to imagine a show where they don't have those supporting cast members there, or like they were constrained by like scripts they had already that they need to repurpose?
I don't know. Yeah.
Which we can get to in the next episode.
It fucks me up because I'm like, there is no way you do this 41 episodes in,
yeah,
and not have the rest of the show be about grief. Like it's wild to me that they do this. Like it is the most like, well, these characters never fucking mattered in the first place, so we can just like swap them out. Who gives a shit? And it's like, oh, okay. I'm sorry I was ever invested in your show. I do think the actual death scene where they're huddled together in a collapsing building is like truly one of the scariest and most horrific. Like, that could just be an earthquake, the way it's shot. Like, that could be any natural disaster.
Like,
and
that could happen.
There's no hope. They're just like, oh, we're going to die. We're all huddled together. We're screaming each other's names. We can't do anything. And then it cuts to, like you said, the doll just repeating its lines over and over.
Yeah, I will say I also like that.
Debris.
Like,
it's terrifying.
I will say I also like that. Like, in their decision to do like a dumb table flip thing, they did decide to double down on like I guess a little bit, being, you know, to some degree, like the original like darker tone of the show had at the beginning, rather than like going like, oh, we're gonna go back to folk slop again.
It's weird to me because like the dark tone lasts for just the scene, and then it's gone again.
Like it does feel like they need to like, we need them to have a home to live, and like, especially because like they don't have, now that the sports center people are gone, Gen can't live at the sports center, and now that Mac is gone, Mac can't just be at this job all the time, like, you know, Hokuto.
Oh, hang on. No, you know what? He's so relieved that Mac is annihilated, really cuts down on the commute time.
Yeah, that's true.
Going into space every morning and every evening, that fucking sucks, bro. Ah, shit.
Yeah.
Couldn't be doing that.
It's like they still need to like establish a place where Toru and Gen could like live, and that came with adding some characters, because it was like, well, they need characters to live with. I don't know. It felt like there was like, they wanted to do this radical shift, but also they still felt like they couldn't.
They could just have him get an apartment and be like, wow, it's just us two now. That fucking sucks.
Yeah. If Gen leaves Toru with this family at the end of this show.
Oh my god!
They're around the corner.
Alternatively, Rumiko shows up again.
Yeah.
and we leave Toru with Rumiko.
I've done it before, I'll do it again.
Here's the thing. If they were self-aware, they could make Rumiko the default choice for this happening. This could be Rumiko's defining character trait in the Ultra series, is that she's the replacement woman.
And then, like, later on, they'd have, like, a episode where she's like, if you think about it, I'm the real mother of Ultra. And then the mother of Ultra comes down and is like, hold on, what'd you just say?
What did you just say? Can't be having that. Yeah. So yeah, we got new family, new tone. It's like, it's less of the sort of like character drama of the early days, and more sort of like, there's a little more, I don't know, like a bit Mirror Man sort of level of like the kind of violence that's happening.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, people getting got, but it's not.
Yeah.
It kills me too that like they can not only just do the like the motherly nurse and like her like it's the fact that there's like a tiny child daughter to befriend Toru and also like someone the exact same age as Gen to also maybe be a love interest.
When the nurse took them in and they both joined the table with her, I was like, they've got a new woman, but you know what? This is not like Gen's new girlfriend, at least. Right?
Yeah, and then
this is not the vibe. And then the next two girls join the table, and I was like, I can't believe
I can't
Subaraya Productions, my nemesis.
I do think at least like the college girl Izumi is like, she seems positioned a bit younger. At least that was how I read it.
A little. So next episode and like the episode after, in like I. Like, out of context, I somewhat enjoy the vibe. They're kind of, like, catty with each other. I'm like, that's, I'm enjoying that a little, but it's,
Yeah, Izumi is like...
It's just really weird to have new dynamics 42 episodes.
Yeah.
The new dynamics are introduced really quickly and really effectively. I know what the dynamic is.
Yeah, that is true. I do think at least like I don't have much to say about Ayumi, the other girl, but like Izumi, at least like I feel like there's a different kind of personality than like
maybe the writers behind Ultraman at the minute feel really confident about starting stories. And they can't be fucked with the middle bits, and so we're just going to start the story over and over again until we get to a really like an ending, and then we'll go all out for that.
Yeah. These guys should do a D&D campaign.
Oh, that's just what D&D is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else do we have to say about it? Well, you know what? Who made this episode?
This episode was made by Kiyosumi Fukusawa and then written by Shigemitsu Taguchi.
Taguchi. What's happening? Mel.
Special effects director Jun Oki. I think he did a good job this episode. I think all the kaiju stuff's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. I'm a fan of the flying saucer creatures.
No design given for Silver Bloom, but is apparently based off jellyfish and a wind chime.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll save. I can see that. That's cool. I can see it.
Yeah.
Also, I'll save Captain Black or Commander Black for later.
Was it Captain Black in the other subs?
No, it might have been actually. I don't know.
Are you specifically calling out Captain Scarlet?
No.
Okay.
No, I just made a mistake.
The recurring bad guy in Captain Scarlet is Captain Black.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Do you have any information on what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
I'm very curious.
Yeah. So remember how we kept on saying whenever there was like cool effects and stuff, like, dude, there's the oil crisis.
You're running out of money. What do you do? Okay, so did they get rid of Mac because Mac is expensive?
Yeah, this is the point where low ratings and the oil crisis catches up to Super at this point, and they're like, we kind of want just. They have like the last core of the show, and they kind of want to do something bold while also needing to cut costs, and so killing off most of the cast was.
Here's the thing, Japanese government official voice. Man, this Ultra team is really expensive.
Yeah, with all the planes that crash,
we have to cut these guys.
Yeah, and so also the Max set was probably more expensive to shoot at than like other ones.
Because they had to go to space every time.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's like, killing off the cast was supposed to be shocking as well, cut costs. And not having to hire the Mac people for acting.
The Mac people that they already fired and rehired.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. As mentioned last time, there are two options on the table what to do for the story. The first one of these, which I mentioned last time, was they were planning on maybe doing a space opera, space war thing where the Ultra Brothers get on like a spaceship and then, have a space opera thing.
There's no way they would have had the money for that to work.
And the other, which they went, was to try and instead put some focus on Leo as like a solitary hero kind of thing. Forging on his own path. Also meant that Toru now had a bigger role to play, as he was basically the last guy from the old cast remaining. And he is, more important. There is that. There's also...
Right, is there any mention in there specifically of why Momoko and Kaoru had to go?
No.
I am gonna lose my mind.
I assume this is also just like a shock thing.
Yeah, presumably.
As for the new kaiju threat, the saucer beasts, there's also two words with one stone. Because one, by this time we're now in 1975. There was a sort of like a UFO craze hitting Japan.
Oh.
Which might also explain why later this year we get a third Mazinker show, UFO Robot Grandizer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And second, puppet kaiju are a lot cheaper than suits.
Yeah, and cooler.
I knew you'd at least like that. So just know that this is what the arc will be. Not that one. For the rest of the show, the entire rest of the series is going to be the terrifying flying saucers series.
So far, they're 3 for 3. I like the sources so far.
Yeah. I like the kaiju are good. It also seems the Shoji Otomos of the world, putting out the supplementary materials, tried to retcon things. So, actually, Alien Magma and Babur were secretly just henchmen for Commander Black this whole time.
Fucking. If these people weren't dead, I would be in prison for trying to kill them.
Obviously, Ryo Minatsu, Gen's actor, has had some comments about this in recent years. In a 2018 interview, he said that he said that him and Toru's actor Suenohiro Arai had a private conversation. After they sort of as this was happening, because they were like. The script gave zero transition between the tragedy and their new status quo, and so the two of them had a conversation. And the two of them had a conversation. It's like, okay, but we can't. It's not in the script, but we should at least act like we're carrying on the memories of the characters we were attached to who died.
Insane.
Oh my god! I can't believe the people who are allowed to make television.
See, this is
anyone
the thing
could do it.
This is the thing that's killing me. Is I feel like deep down, what might be hurting me the most with all of this is I was hoping the show would be a train wreck in the way that the creativity was overflowing and it allowed them to go all out in a really messy way. But it just feels so artistically bankrupt almost, and that really makes me sad. No thought to the emotional resonance of this at all. It's just fuck it, we're pivoting gears to making a different type of show.
When this show started, it kind of felt like what was going to happen was they had gone really ambitious and they were going to stick with it until it was impossible, and the show was just falling apart at the seams. And what instead happened was they stuck with that until the first sign of danger, and then went, hang on.
I think the Heisei era shows are a lot more stable.
Yeah. I mean, Heisei Toku. It's...
Yeah. Also, in a 2024 interview, he said he was not informed of, the classic, he was not informed of the direction change beforehand, and so when he got the script, he was like, why? What is happening?
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
And
Wow.
finally, this transition away from like the story of what happened, and this is more just fun trivia. The teacher who got eaten this episode is played by Hiroya Ishimaru. And he's notable because starting with this character's next appearance, Ishimaru would be the voice actor for Ultraman Taro until he retired in 2023.
Oh, I see.
Oh. Wow, that's a long run.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's not Taro's voice now, but the next time he shows up, he's Taro's voice.
Yeah,
Is
next
that
time
what
he
you're
shows up for us,
Okay.
he'll be voicing him.
Okay.
And he's retired from acting at this point. But he's still alive, notably.
Damn, cool.
So that's a fun trivia.
Wow. Did you have more? Was I interrupting you?
No, I'm done with the trivia. I feel like
Okay.
I feel like I'm definitely like maybe we'll see about these next two episodes, I think.
Yeah. Do we have anything more to say about this first episode? I won't know just because this podcast might run long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can.
I think it's
move on.
fair. And we'll probably hit a lot of the same beats anyway.
Yeah. I think we've said our piece about that episode. So, episode 2 of Ultraman Leo is called The Terrifying Saucer Creature Series. The Saucer Creature from the Demon Planet has come. Featuring the Saucer Creature, Black Doom, and Commander Black.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Toru, yeah. Toru and Ayumi, the little sister in the family, are hanging out with Oba, a kid who dresses stupid and is
that's
obsessed
not
with
what the
flying
narrator
saucers.
says.
What is it? Oba, who is the son of a watchmaker?
No, it says. Hold on. Let me find it. Please read.
As usual, he invited Turu and Kaoru. This is like how they sometimes these subs have not been calling Toru that.
I mean, that is technically how it would be written in hiragana.
Yeah, but like it's like that's not how that gets anglicized. Generally.
It might be dependent, but anyway, yeah. That's
Like,
not the
it's
important
like
thing.
you'd go for like a TOU or something.
Oh yeah,
anyway.
you is how it usually is.
Sorry, and Kaoru. I see.
Yeah. I was like an elephant in the room.
I was like, damn, you're like so.
Is that? Oh my god. That's ridiculous.
I might have to see if that's actually what they say. But you can continue to say
Yeah,
that now.
we'll have to check that another time. That's crazy.
I was like, excuse me.
Oh dear. Well, I guess
if that's what they actually say, that
yeah.
I was gonna say if that's what they actually say, then it's letting credence to like this episode at least is a leftover script from before the retweet.
Toru and Kaoru, the little sister in the family, are hanging out with Oba, a kid who dresses stupid and is obsessed with flying saucers. They're all posted up on like the 4th floor of a construction site, peering through a telescope, and Toru asks, "Are you sure flying saucer exists?" Crony voice, "I think I'm gonna kill myself." Toru, you know aliens exist. What are you talking about? Okay. Anyway. Black Doom shows up and looks a lot like a flying saucer, so Oba tries to contact it using a mirror. Unfortunately, this seems to work, and Black Doom unfurls into this big crab monster and attacks the area around the construction site. It's melting buildings and people with a foam spray, and then Oba's parents look like they get got, but don't worry, they're just injured. They're in hospital. The attack ends, and now Oba joins the Miyami family for a bit. They're just collecting children. Now, I quite like the vibe with the Miyami family, but Oba does not when he feels like he caused all that death and destruction. Ayumi straight up blames him for everything that happened, and everyone else assures Toru, and I think the kid has already walked off, but is like assuring Toru, there's no way of knowing that Black Doom was a scary monster. You're fine. The older sister
Again, also
is
blames
called-
himself.
Yes. The older sister is called Izumi, I believe, and
Yes.
she's doing maybe history or archaeology at college.
Yeah.
She and her senior uncover a hell of a find.
I just was say I like this. Well, actually, I'll say it after though. I'll let you.
Okay. She and her senior uncover a hell of a find, but wait, that looks like a miniature Black Doom. When they want to show their find to their professor, it wakes up, menaces Izumi, and then flies out the window. Izumi's senior thinks she's hidden their discovery, but the professor thinks there might be something to Izumi's story. A search commences. At this point, Oba's photos of Black Doom get developed, and Izumi sees them and goes, "Aha! That looks just like the thing we dug up." Gen and the gang find the professor and explain, and Oba goes looking for Black Doom on his own to get revenge. Gen finds Oba as Oba finds Black Doom. Gen turns into Leo to rescue Oba, and Black Doom turns big and hits Leo with the foam attack. Toru and the professor take Oba out of danger. Leo's not doing so hot. And then he spins really fast to get rid of the foam, and he explodes Black Doom. The day is saved. Later, Oba's parents leave the hospital, and Oba tells everyone he's not going to be looking for flying saucers anymore. He's going to look at stars and planets. And Kaoru, is like, are you going to look for the Star of Ultra? And he's like, yeah. Once again, the Ultra series seems to believe there's a sort of quantum dynamic here where alien invasions only happen if you observe them happening. Commander Black summons Black Star Unit 3 next time on Ultraman. Leo versus Absorber or Absorber, one of those three. The end.
Yeah. I confirmed. It's just these subs are stupid.
It's just the subs were stupid.
They do say Oyumi.
That's funny.
However, it would have been really funny if the narrator did say that.
Yes.
I'll give you credit. You're not that bad.
So this is our first episode, just starting with this status quo. I think this one is kind of fine.
I think it's fine.
I think the third one has more. I think this one's like...
Yeah, I like the third one, is what I say.
I think it's fine. I don't know if I was over the last episode to fully rate this impartially.
I think that's also it. Like, it's both like the first one after the transition, whereas it's kind of like... Also, I think my sub situation did prime me to think, maybe incorrectly, as it turns out, because it was wrong subs, but it did prime me to think this was a leftover script they just had and repurposed to the new status quo.
This is why good subs are important.
Yeah.
They can do stuff like that.
We'll have good subs for the next season.
This is going to be a problem the rest of the show, I can already tell, but like, even if this version of the show is firing on all cylinders and is fine, I don't know if it should exist at all in the first place, and I don't know how to wrestle these feelings.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know if I care if the new cast is good. I don't really want to see them.
Yeah.
It's a weird place to be.
Well, this is a new show, Brad. This is episode 2 of Ultraman Leo.
I want the old one.
No, the old show ended. That ended last time. You got the finale. You didn't like it.
I feel like all the grief is being placed on me, not the characters.
You have to feel the grief in the place of the characters that felt the grief off screen and got over it immediately.
Yeah.
Imagine if like one of us died and then the other two recorded a podcast eating at like a Denny's and we were like, "Oh, did you see that new model kit that got?"
Now that we said this, if one of us does die, the other two do have to make a podcast like nothing has happened.
Yeah.
I'm happy to make that pact right now.
I'm down for this.
We do have to hire a new host from the same country.
Yes.
From the same country. We have to. That's good. That's good. I'm like this is like deploying like some of the classics of Ultraman. It's like we got a kid of the week.
Got a cool crab. Add this to
listen,
the crab list.
Yeah.
crab is fucking good. This is
Love
my
this
favorite
guy.
of the sources so far.
Yeah,
love
same
this
as
crab.
If they ever want to pull out a banger, they just got to make a crab.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's that simple.
He has to hit his
Or
weak point.
get
for
a
acid
real
damage.
crab and manhandle it.
You mean like the bird next episode?
I mean like the bird next. They treat that bird a little better than the one that they just threw in the sea that one
Yes.
time in Ultra
Yeah.
Q.
we have improved since Ultra Q. Not that there's much to improve.
Now,
Like-
here's the thing: is it worse to throw a bird in the sea or spread sriracha on it?
I mean, is that actual bird medicine?
I
don't know.
I don't know how bird medicine works, but it does just look.
Yeah.
In my mind, what was happening was he was like, tasty. So he put sriracha on this bird.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, this episode I don't have all that much. I like the crab. I do quite like the gimmick of the sources hide by being really small.
Yeah.
And interact and like generally menacing people.
Yeah. I actually like the bit in the middle where like Gen like offers to drive Izumi to the dig. I like the banter there, but also I like the where like when he gets there, Gen starts checking out her senpai, and he's like combing his hair back, and I'm like, well, this side, we haven't seen this side again before.
Gen's getting his. Here's the thing. He's on the rebound right now.
He is on the rebound.
lost his girlfriend. Well, what happened to your ex? Oh, it's crazy. She died like a week ago. What else is going on in this episode? Who made this episode?
This episode was made by, I believe the same exact team, Kiyosumi Fukusawa and Shigemitsu Taguchi, as last episode.
Okay. Mel.
Special officer is Junoki Black Doom, who is also known as a Black Dome, which may be closer with the katakana says.
Oh, that's so cool. Sorry.
Designed by Tetsuo Osawa and sculpted by Kai Maeda Productions.
I love Black Dome.
I like there's some cool like I think because they're using puppets, they're doing some interesting like compositing like from the kaiju's point of view, pointing down and attacking in these episodes, and I think that I like that as like a different way of doing things.
It's like kind of fun ones perched on the buildings, if I recall.
Yeah.
I think that's this one. Yeah.
And of course it's a crab, so it's Ultra 7 coated.
Mm-hmm. And you know it's got foam. Foam is just lots of bubbles.
Yeah. That's what I meant by Ultra 7 coated.
Yeah. I was connecting the dots. I was like, what does Mel mean? I see. I understand. I think a lot of this episode is kind of unremarkable. I think as like special effects show, it's like good stuff. But again,
it's good effects.
We're dealing with the
We're like it's good effects, but also like unremarkable plot in the situation of being the follow up to the reset, and we're still kind of like dealing with the change that's just like just fundamentally throwing us for a loop.
The fact that Ryu Matsumoto was like taking Toru's actor aside and being like, it's not in the script. We have to like try to convey any grief at all. Crazy.
Yeah.
Something of
this feels like these writers are acting like they're still writing Ultra Q, even though they're writing a show technically as plot.
Right. There's like I don't know, this idea that in a pinch you can just reset at any time is like irresponsible.
Or they feel they have to.
Like can I be honest? I kind of have felt for a while now that these people are showing up for the check. Like, I don't think they care. Like, I think the people in charge of the early parts of the show and the premise are invested in the characters and the story and what they, you know, like all that stuff. But I think everyone else at this point is like, okay, what can we do to make sure we have stuff to make each week and we stay employed. Like, that's kind of the vibe I have.
I think that makes sense as well. Just like they start off with like a dream, I guess, and like the reality of like the show's not doing so hot, and the people upstairs are telling us we have to make it work somehow. ?
And this is how we put bread on the table. So like, do it. Like, this is our livelihood. Just do whatever works, and we know works, so we'll do that. No other consideration.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe this will everything will be solved by the third episode of Ultraman Leo. Not everything will be solved by the third episode of Ultraman Leo, but it is probably the best one of the three.
Yeah. I'm gonna preemptively say that, like, if the majority of the future episodes are like this one, then I'll at least have a decent time watching this show and say, like, okay, asterisks, but I'll at least say I enjoyed this show.
I'm sticking with my I said something like a few weeks ago where I was like, I'm simply not having expectations anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just not doing that. I said I said I was going to not have expectations anymore. They somehow managed to prove that I still had some expectations, even a little
they
bit.
They tested you. This was a Dan test.
Dismantled them. This was a Dan test. I have retracted even deeper into zero expectations.
Yeah.
So, you know,
it's hard to have expectations when they
keep thwarting them.
They keep
changing the show.
Yeah, like there's no map.
There is a map. It's just that now, yesterday there was no hill there, and now there is. Anyway, episode 3. Terrifying Saucer Series. Leo's in danger. Leo's in danger. The assassin is a saucer creature. Featuring the saucer creatures Absorver and Commander Black. I should really switch the order on then so it doesn't sound like Commander Black is a saucer creature. Black Star Unit 3, Absorver, is on its way to Earth. Stupid name.
I just have it as Absorber, to be honest.
I watched this one at work, so I watched it on YouTube, and the subs were Absorver. Now, in the next time on from the previous episode, the subs were Avsorver.
Avsorva is what's written in the booklet.
Wait, which one's written in the booklet?
Avsorva. No B's.
Okay. I will
no B's, that's our current environment, unfortunately.
Yeah. True.
Avsorva sounds like something you get like a commercial for, that like if you take it, all your niche disease will go away.
I see.
But you have to ask
Niche
a doctor
Disease
first.
is such a good band.
Niche disease.
Okay. Gen and Toru stumble on a kid getting bullied. This is Hideyuki, who has saved a sparrow from a bunch of other kids. Gen convinces the other kids to leave Hideyuki and the sparrow alone, but he gets some weird vibes from Hideyuki's shack. That's Hideyuki's hospital, where he takes care of injured animals and he won't let anyone interfere.
In his country.
In his country, yes, he draws borders. Gen asks if he has a saucer creature, and Hideyuki is like, no, those are big. Everything I have is small enough to fit in a shack, silly. Toru points out that the saucers can grow and shrink, and Hideyuki is like, so if I had that creature, you guys would just kill it, right? He's got them there. Gen and Toru leave. Inside the shack, Hideyuki's got ducks, pigeons, frogs, a dog, a goat, all sorts. He treats the sparrow by putting sriracha on it, like I said earlier, and then he attends to a much stranger creature, a weird alien shell with tentacles. It's Avsorver. Avsorver absorbs Hideyuki's wakefulness and knocks him out, and then Absorver sneaks out to go on a rampage. Avsorver starts absorbing fuel from tanks by sticking a little tube in them and going like, that's its thing. It absorbs energy. Then it blows up some stuff and leaves. 4 more attacks later, Gen is doing map analysis on where the incidents took place to figure out Absorver's base of operations. And it's just like he thought. It's that shack. Toru and Gen sneak up on the shack and they espy Hideyuki petting the mini Absorver. They charge in. Toru fights Hideyuki, and Hideyuki gives in so as not to injure a frog. At this point, Gen appeals to the boy's care for life, pointing out that Avzorva's attacks hurt many living things. Hideyuki, do you only care about the living beings in this shack? Hideyuki offers to show Gen Avzorva, but only if he promises not to kill it, and Gen's like, ah!
I laugh so much at this part. It's so funny.
Yeah, sure. Gen peeks in the box where Avzorva is hidden, and it immediately hits Gen with a gout of blue smoke. Toru immediately starts trying to kill it, and Hideyuki intervenes. At this point, Avzorva whips out a flamethrower and goes to town, and Hideyuki is horrified as the shack starts burning. They evacuate the animals, but as they run away, they drop the sparrow's cage, and Gen stops Hideyuki from going back for it. He can only watch as Avzorva grows to huge size, and the sparrow is engulfed in flames. Hideyuki wants Avzorva dead for this, but he's a tiny child and can't kill a giant saucer creature by throwing rocks at it. He and Toru get snatched, and Gen turns into Leo, rescues them, and fights Avzorva. Avzorva tries to absorb Leo's life, but Leo doesn't get absorbed. Instead, he kicks Avzorva, and it explodes. Job done. Later, Hideyuki is dejected, and the Miyami family tries to pull a Kotaro classic and buys him a fucking canary. Hideyuki is a normal person, however, and so this doesn't work on him. Hideyuki is not only sad about the sparrow, but disappointed in himself for giving in to anger and asking Gen to kill Avzorva. He walks away, and the mother of the Miyami family assures Gen that he'll be okay. All children have to overcome hardship and become grown-ups one day. Meanwhile, Commander Black summons Black Star Unit 4, next time on Ultraman Leo versus Deimos. Wait, Deimos? As in the Deimos that got Death Starred by the father of Ultra? The end.
No, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I thought this one was like the good one of the three.
Yeah, I like this one.
I just thought it was pretty well done.
Yeah, I like the
It's
kid.
all right.
I like the kid who has them dead to rights. About them just killing animals on sight.
Gen's face when the kid's like, promise not to kill the alien, and he's like, I mean.
He does say, like, at first, like, no, I won't let you in because you guys are the type to kill on impulse.
Yeah. He's right. He is right. I
like, we didn't talk about it, but, like, the episode starts with, like, there's an earthquake in the kitchen.
There's an earthquake in the kitchen, and
they have to hold back Toru from, like, running to go after the sauce because he's like, it's our enemy. We have to fight these guys. And
there's revenge in him. He wants revenge.
And that's how I read, like, his essentially like a manic swinging and like brutal beatdown of the saucer in the, and so that's also why I kind of like this episode, because it feels like it is bringing a bit of like Toru does have that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is more the actor doing it.
Yeah,
than like, the script itself, but it's like he's bringing that revenge energy into fighting this guy, which I appreciate. It was needed. It was needed in the previous episodes. And also I do kind of like Gen and Toru, like, we have to investigate this, but are being held back by like the new domestic situation and the family being like, it's late and it's dangerous, you shouldn't do that, so they have to sneak out in the day, or Gen at his desk, like, he can't use max resources, so he has to like do on his own just figure out, okay, where are the locations of this thing, and I think I like that stuff.
I think it's fucked up that at this stage Gen is not telling Toru who he is.
Yeah.
This feels like we can't break out of tradition where it has to be the final episode.
100%.
Because like they are so like
because as Yuko told Seiji at the end of Ace, and only at the end of Ace, if people find out you're Ultraman, you'll die.
There's a character in Kamen Rider Kuga. He's the white guy. He's Jean. And I recently got to the episode of Kuga where he reveals that he knows that Godai is Kuga.
Yeah.
And Godai's like, but I never told you. And he's like, I was like obvious, dude. I was like, you've kind of just been acting like I do know, really. And that's kind of where I'm at with Toru, where it's like, I feel like he knows.
Yeah,
but like,
I feel like there's definitely like, I won't say which, but I think I recall there's like future seasons where there is like, oh, the reveal, and like one character's like, well, yeah, I knew that. Obviously.
Right.
Like, there is really no getting around it now. Like, there's no team, and like the chaos of like.
It's like hey, again, why is it that us two feel equipped to go fight the Saucers? There's no, you're not a member of any kind of, the military's back. The military are fighting.
Yes, that was another thing that was cool. Like, because we have no map, we just see like the actual JSTF pulling tanks and planes. It was so strange to see it.
And like, you're not a soldier, so like, why do we feel qualified to be doing this? Did you just say he's got soul? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just, I feel like this is very much, we're operating in like Toru, like when Toru gets knocked out in this episode so that Gen can transform, and I'm like, what are you talking about? He knows.
You see,
surely.
It makes sense because as we have established, the Kaiju has a sleeping ray, and therefore it makes perfectly logical sense for them to be
perfectly logical sense. It absorbs your energy so that you go sleepy.
Yeah.
I quite like just the sort of like central problem of this being that there's just a kid who's like too nice at the center of this, who's just like, no, I don't want you to kill this creature that I picked up. And I think as like a central like dramatic problem to have for Gen to have, I think it's good.
I think our kid guest star of the week is like the highlight for me here.
Yeah.
Where like I think his little like tiny amateur vet shack is like fun, and the saucer creature. Mixed up
it feels like an interesting twist
on
like the Ultraman is right thing, because like Gen is right, but also it's not like a triumphant moral victory when he wins. Like, the kid still feels bad about it, and like,
yes,
at least for us specifically, we get something out of like, the kid is correctly stating what the ideology of Ultraman and the defense teams are.
Yeah,
I do think this show is pretty good about like making him seem like they're not invalidating what he's saying per se. Like, they're like, this is a perfectly reasonable stance for this little boy to have.
It's not like Alien Simon in Hokuto sudden about face summary execution.
So about face, so you wouldn't dare execute all the children's favorite alien, and he goes,
that you convince them to stop being racist.
I'm a real bastard. I really would.
And also, I'm the protagonist, so it makes it okay.
I'll do it, and then I'll tell kids, you got to be kind to aliens.
Yeah, it's okay. He sacrificed himself by revealing that he's Ultraman in order to make sure the kids don't ideologically reject kindness.
By executing the alien.
People really like that episode, Ace.
Yeah, listen. I like I like the final note here of the kid, where it's not just that he's sad about the sparrow, it's that he's also like, he
gave in.
I gave in to hatred.
Mm-hmm.
The Sith style.
Yeah. And I also do like that the protagonists are unhinged in pulling out the canary, and the kid is like, obviously this is not gonna fix the issue.
I'm so glad that Taro logic tried to get applied in a different show and was just immediately shot down. It's pretty good. I quite like I like this saucer. Obviously, the crab's my favorite one because crabs are just really cool. But this one's good. I think the fight with Leo has got like got quite a lot going on in terms of like it trying to use tentacles to outplay Leo. It's got its flamethrower going, and then at the same time it's like sneaking one of its tentacles along the ground through the forest to like grab his ankles or something.
Yeah.
I think, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm like, it's been a while since we've had a puppet, but they're managing to do good work with the puppets now that they're back.
Remember Ultra 7. Remember how many puppets we got?
Yeah, alien
Those
cool.
were the good days. Who made this episode?
This episode was made by different people I know.
Steven.
Directed by Isao Maeda and written by Bunpei.
Okay.
Special characters.
Bunpei seems to do all right. His hit rate's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's not like one of our guys, but like his hit rate's all right.
He's interesting at the very least.
It'll be interesting to see what new guys we'll collect once we get to the era where these guys are not working.
Mm-hmm.
Or, just new blood.
They're already not working, and if you catch my drift.
Wait.
They just got to get to the end of this show, and then they could take a break from Ultraman.
They can take a break from Ultraman. And then they can come back and make 80 a show no one talks about.
Well, we will.
We will talk about it. Here's the thing about 80 is I want it to be good because I've heard the opening.
It's a good opening.
And it's good.
It's an 80s opening.
Yeah. It's 80s. It's very 80s. Mel, your stuff for this.
Yeah, special
episode.
extra is Yoshiyuki Yoshimura. No info on Absorba, unfortunately.
It got absorbed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're just getting to that point.
Lost to time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is there to say about this episode?
I think we most covered it. Like,
Yeah.
lot of animals in. Toru is swinging a little too close to those animals, to be honest.
They're shooting flames. I would have to go back and check those shots, but like if they took the animals out of the shack when they were like firing that flamethrower. But like I don't know that they would. I don't know that they did.
Yeah,
they seem kind of laissez-faire about this kind of thing.
Putting aside like the welfare of the animals themselves aside, I do think at least like the erratic like swinging of Toru potentially endangers the animals as he's just like not focused on them in like his revenge quest against the saucers. I do think it adds to like his delivery of like the his desire for vengeance.
This stretch of the show, one of the things we'll be keeping an eye out for is the performances for Gen and Toru. Just to see what they can inject into what little they have with regards to the fact that they are the same characters that had a whole different family like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will see. That might be it for the Ultraman this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have color timers?
Yeah. Episode 40, 8 seconds, 2 minutes, 1 second. Episode 41, 1 minute, 58 seconds. Episode 42, 2 minutes, 4 seconds.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did we update the genocide counter when Father of Ultra shot that planet?
No. Should we?
Yeah.
I think we should. Well, I
That's
guess
a whole planet.
I guess it depends how next week. Yeah, we should hit that button.
Okay.
Ultraman Genocide Counter.
Thank you.
It's maybe the best we've had in a while. It
That's
was
true.
like it genuinely knocked me out. I was losing it.
It really does just feel like a Family Guy cutaway day. It's insane.
When you said Family Guy cutaway on the episode, I was like, thank you. That is exactly what it is like. Because it's just like immediate tone shifts. So strange.
We're now at 9.
We're now at 9. Good to know. Well, yeah, we kind of slowed down on those after we got out of like Ultra 7.
Yeah.
I think at some point they realized maybe this isn't it.
Maybe we shouldn't be wiping out alien races all the time.
Yeah, if they actually want to like have Ultraman be the character they pretend he is.
Yeah. Be the hero of space. Yeah.
It's about hope.
Do we have any emails? I suspect we might have one.
We have 2.
Okay.
First is text from last week when we were in the middle of Golden Kamuy.
Oh, yeah.
Subject line. So about that oil crisis.
Uh-huh.
First of all, about the last week's episode that, like, Red Eye missed. The 2-parter is one of my favorites in Ultra simply because of its absurdity. The Ultra Bros look like prairie dogs popping out of their burrows. Ace sound needlessly bloodthirsty for the traitor Astra. Well, you know. The Ultra Key is a gun. When Leo goes, do you steal the Ultra Key and send Planet Ultra out of control, Astra? And Astra shakes his head and hides the Ultra Key behind his back.
It is like that bit in the movie In Bruges where he goes to assassinate Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
And then Colin Farrell pulls out a gun to shoot himself, and then he yells, "Stop, what are you doing?" And Colin Farrell turns around and goes, "What are you doing?" And he just hides the gun behind him and goes, "Nothing."
Leo, we're going to kill Astra. The Ultra Brothers honestly come off as kind of evil despite the understanding of their situation, which I love. Well, let me tell you about how we think of the Ultra Brothers on this podcast.
Evil motherfuckers.
At the same time, there's some nice moments. Dan and Ganon calling each other by their Ultra names feels so very intimate. Seeing Gan attack Dan is fun. I'm glad that if the writers had no idea what to do with Astra, at least we get to see his fun, ridiculous romp. King's Deus Ex Machina role continues to be deeply thematic to my Leo corroded brain. As for this week, I love the brutality of Silverbloom's attack, but I think most agree that Leo doesn't fully live up to the potential of what should be really game-changing. Here's Offie. There's some ideas that really shine. Gen's mentoring of Toro and him coming into his own independent of Dan, but they somehow front-load the weakest of the Saucer Creatures episodes, unfortunately. This is one of the few sections of Leo that I would change. Hopefully this isn't spoilers, but we'll see. Silverbloom.
Yeah.
I would Silverbloom knock out Mac and Dan in episode 40 and not the rest of the family, but then in the next episode, have the Saucer Creatures taken out and focus on the idea that if Mac was there to at least raise the alarm, they might have been saved. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'd have this attack hit the sports center and have Toro away from it because he was so upset with something, resulting in him being the only survivor and also having more guilt and anger. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I think like it'd make a bit more sense to spread them out rather than have all at once and then also reintroduce a new status quo in the same episode.
Can I say, I don't know if I'm thrilled about the idea that Toru lives, and I feel like that's also doing traditionally we have like a little sidekick kid guy.
The fact that Toru, the fact that they're like, yeah, we got to get rid of Mac because they're too expensive. I'm like, okay. And say, oh, and we're also going to get rid of Momoko and Kaoru. And I'm like, well, why? It's like, well, it contributes to the shock factor. It's like, okay. And then Toru lives. And I'm like, what do you mean Toru lives? Is he not going to die for the shock factor too? It's like, no, he gets to live.
He doesn't really feel like a lonely hero if he has Toru.
It's the Mandalorian.
I guess.
No, fuck out.
Yeah. I'm very side eye. I'm just like, well, I know why Toru lived and Kaoru didn't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Played around in my head with Dan held on a bit before dying heroically, but there's something fitting about him going down with the ship. And don't forget your life isn't yours to give, parting words, as the station collapses around him are too iconic at the back to move or mess with. I did like when the it dies, we get like the final conversation almost seems like, oh, they're in the shadow of like the ship dying, but also there's the red glow behind it and it evokes like the sun. them similar to the sun, like in the first episode at the end of the OP. I like
cool.
that stuff. Also, I will say that rewatching Leo, knowing how everyone dies really changed the experience. The sense of dramatic irony, the way all the scenes that show Kaoru Momoko's Gen's new family become tragic, delicious. Lastly, the way Leo swung, going from an eerie exploration of Kaoru and Toru's relationship and their grief for the mom to fun, ridiculous two-parter to kill them all, where he sums up what makes the show so unforgettable. Let me see if I can download this image that they have. View image. Can I save it? Save. There we go. This is the attached image.
What is this? I will read this. Unless it's like... okay. Ultraman Leo is hands down the most tonally bizarre Ultra series because some episodes are like... this is a Tumblr post. This monster eats rainbows. It doesn't mean to hurt anyone. It just wants to eat rainbows. Can Leo convince it to clean up the mess it made? And other episodes are like, remember that family who watched their father get vivisected by an alien right in front of them? Well, we're going to crush 2 more of them in a collapsing building. The little boy went insane from grief. No, he didn't. No, he didn't go insane from grief. I must.
He really
contest
didn't
with
go
this
insane.
post.
I also too. I'm gonna be honest. I don't feel like the weight of their father's death really is all that present through the rest of the series.
Yeah.
I don't really think they. I think this is a lot of inserting of emotions that aren't actually in the show.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
The next post, the response to this post, I also have issue. I also take issue with. Again, you must maintain your training with my latest invention, the Giganator. It has a buzzsaw that launches out and hooked claws that arc down. Learn to dodge it, you fuck, says Moroboshi Dan. Almost every episode. It's not almost every episode. It's almost
It's like
every
3.
episode for 10 episodes, and then they immediately stop forever.
Yeah.
They never do it again. And then the response, I thought you were both exaggerating. I'm afraid they were both exaggerating.
They were both exaggerating.
We
latching onto the few cool ideas the show has and really wishing the rest of it.
Might not. I might not hang with the Leo sickos. I'm sorry. With apologies to them. It is how it is.
There's a lot I like about this show, but I do think that it has gone away. That I'll go into the rest of the show with an open heart, but there's a lot I think they have to make up for
like,
me
I'll say,
not
like,
thrilled about.
Like, I appreciate that at least there's more of that original tone in this last stretch than not, but I also think, like, the execution of the shift did a lot to make me go, I feel weird about this. And, like, even when I'm enjoying it, I'll have caveats. And like I said, maybe if like more episodes like episode 3 this week, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll enjoy the show and I'll still feel positively by the end of it, but it'll also be like enjoy with asterisks and, you know, it's like a caveat.
At least it gives us something fun to talk about.
Yeah,
true.
What the fuck?
It's better than it's better than fucking Ace. I'll tell you that much.
yeah. Like actually.
Anyway, was there more to this email?
No, that's the end of it.
Thank you for your email.
Thank you for your email.
Thank you for your email.
Thank you for your email. Is there another email?
Yeah, there's one from Kat. This one's from this week.
I'm surprised there isn't one from Cydrix. I would have thought anyway.
Yeah, he says he's just been lazy, I guess.
No, listen, your emails are too long. You put in a lot of effort. You can chill. You can take a break.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to if he does one for the finale at least, just because, you know, this is a show.
Also, we seem a little more down on your favorite show than which, you know, that's not going to be fun.
Yeah. But I would like to hear your opinion on it.
Yeah, no, like actually, listen. We can all like and dislike different things and be fine.
Yeah.
It's a TV show.
Brad loves Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And he
I
hates
love
women.
pet labor too.
That's mostly you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There's a lot of people that like pet labor too, let me tell you.
I know.
Yeah, and they're
This
wrong.
is defeat in detail.
Yeah. Anyway. The assassination of Brother Astra by the coward Shinahida is the subject line.
Okay.
We're finally
Wait, hang on. Is this... Okay, this is... I am now thinking, like, is Astra in the rest of the the rest of the show at all?
I don't know.
We'll see.
He could be.
That might be the
Ultraman Leo is Ultraman Leo is a pizza you order from one of those sites that gives you too many options, so you have every slice has a different topping. Like, not like half and half or quadrant, it's every slice. It's like, this one has olives, this one has pepperoni, this one has peppers.
It's an Ultraman for everyone. For new fans and old fans alike.
Anyway, yes, this email.
We're finally at the part of the show where my memory immediately skips to from the early Training and Focus episodes. Truly wild stuff. I feel like often in the fandom, the fake Astra stuff here ends up informing people's view of the real Astra because there's so little else to go on. I guess people like to imagine that Astra must seem like a chaotic enough figure that people could believe he'd really steal the key. Parentheses, hey, why do you have a key that blows up planets and also causes the light and line of light to careen towards Earth if removed? I don't think you should have that. Close
I think the episode demonstrates exactly why they have that key, so that they can genocide alien races they don't like. The father of Ultra loves that key. I know he loves that key.
He's always looking for excuses to use it.
He doesn't just find excuses to use it. He just pulls it out and just he sits there and he just kind of pets it and just
sometimes
strokes
a key is
it.
just key.
And it's just like, yeah, sometimes a key is just a key. Sometimes a key is more than a key. Anyway.
Father of Ultra using the key, and then like the Golden Kamuy narrator box comes up and tells us about snipers in World War One.
I want Ogata holding the Ultra Key. He would pull the trigger. I know he would. If you told him his dad was on that planet. Anyway.
He'd be the most fun person to use it. Anyway. Most of all, though, I love the shot of the Ultra Brothers popping their heads up like meerkats, bizarre little creatures. As for last week, I had the very specific path of getting into Ultraman of watching... first watching, though, one modern series, I won't spoil which, that for some reason homages the returning hero locked in the fetish mask bit here, and then watching Leo second, so I was like, is this just an Ultra series tradition? And maybe dear reader, it should have been.
I see.
I don't even know which season that is off the top of my head, so you know. Miscellaneous stuff, thank you for explaining what Mezzoforte is actually, because I have a very hazy memory of it as the first anime OP I ever stumbled across on YouTube as a kid with no knowledge of what I was looking at. The chorus of which I can still hum, and then see the bowling fight clip, and that's it. Well, you know, that's what it is.
It's that, and then some pornography happens.
Yeah.
Not yet the good version.
Was that the email?
Yeah, and no continuing on. I'm glad Mel enjoyed Bokenger. I really like that one. The unorthodox format, the combination of the then modern and classic Sentai vibes, and the time the Blue Ranger used bisexual thought to resist telepathy. I forgot that. Anyway, great show, a little underappreciated, I think. By the time you read this, I guess you'll have found out the answer to the question, what's Leo going to do for its final arc? Huh? I hope you're not tired of the tonal dissonance yet. Well...
We make a pretty good podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, the room I'm in is so warm. Oh, my head. Anyway.
Same.
It's summer.
It's summer, and I do not have a fan on.
That's okay, because I'm your biggest fan.
Oh, wow.
I name all your albums.
All
Niche
my
Disease.
Niche Disease. That's right.
Wigan Kebab.
That's not one. No, it's not one of my albums. That was done by the bassist who split with us.
Oh, okay.
They call him Pete Wet.
Blue August.
They call him Pete Wet. What a disgusting stage name. They call me Pete Wet.
I said Pete Wet, but yeah.
I've my brain auto completed to Pete.
Okay.
Okay, well.
Anyway. P.S. What I've seen of 80 is really nice, IMO, but I don't know if that's just me because Larry nobody talks about it. We will see in time.
We'll see.
I'm happy we have even like Ultra fans emailing in to be like, I don't fucking know about that one,
Yeah.
Chief.
It might secretly be the best one. It might
It
secretly
could be a hidden
really-
gem.
You know.
We deviate enough from the norm of Ultra fans that maybe it just has stuff that no one else cares about but us.
Exactly.
Maybe we'll be age-brained about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know how the two of them are reacting to age.
I'm caught up. I'm basically.
Is
my
it a warm
entire-
endearment?
Yes.
Yeah. My entire.
I kind of figured.
My entire reaction has just been like the lingering question of can Flit get more insane is yes. Yes, of course he can. I know he can, and he will.
Yeah, that's my thing with age. I don't enjoy age, but I enjoy talking about age. It's a really funny show. At the end of the day.
It's the show for small children, and it's the one that has the most evil character in all of Gundam in it.
Who is also a protagonist.
Who is also a protagonist. He's a hero of the show. Anyway.
Ridiculous.
Anyway. Thank you for your email.
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 That is a podcast.
That is a podcast.
So,
That's
next
a
week,
podcast.
we will be watching episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Ultraman Leo. Make sure to tune in.
Also known as episode 43 through 45.
Known as what?
Nothing.
Yeah, I think that was just for the UK DVDs.
Oh, yeah.
From
Oh,
like
okay,
2004.
I don't have one of those. I downloaded it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had to syndicate it and Ultraman Leo together.
I see. That's okay. I understand. Join us next time. 3 more episodes of Ultraman. Until then, you can follow us online. We are on Twitter at ultra_QUEUE. We are on Blue Sky at ultra_QUEUE. No underscores on Blue Sky. I am also on Blue Sky. I'm at Red November. Mel, your plugs.
Hi, you can follow me at DeCrowns on Twitter and Blue Sky. We have an email, ultrapod@gmail.com. We have the Culture. What was that word?
Viviculture.
Culture.
Ain't that from Macross?
Yak de culture.
We have a coffee, Ultra Fund. A reminder that we have 3 weeks left of this new show. So send in your emails. And also, the schedule is going to be a bit weird after. So just telling you in advance. We got the 6 Ultra Brothers versus Monster Army the week after Leo. We have the manga, the Ultraman not going to be the anime. The week after that. Then we have another Golden Kamui alongside the first Thank You of Omega. The week after that. Those first 2 have some goodies, but we'll mention them next week. They'll be relevant. And then finally we'll have the first episode of 80 after that. So things are kind of weird in the coming month, but you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got some one shot podcasts in between Leo and 80. Brad.
And also.
Oh.
I'm not here next week because I got my convocation center running.
Oh yeah.
So enjoy the rare pod without me while it lasts.
Yeah. Me and Brad will hold the fort. We will do our best. Brad, your plugs.
Yeah. I'm everywhere at Be Invoked. That's BEINVOKED. Mostly on Blue Sky these days. I did actually, right before leaving for Combo Breaker, this computer of mine has a built-in capture card now.
Nice.
So, plans
Plans
on the horizon. Check out my YouTube.
Excellent.
It's happening. Finally.
You're becoming a YouTuber.
Finally, yeah. You know, I thought with this new beginning of the show, there's a new beginning for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You've
I'm like
never
slowly
been a YouTuber
replacing.
before.
I'm slowly replacing everyone in my life with substitute versions.
Yeah. It's it's good for like your mental health. It's just every like 6 weeks or so you just change your life entirely.
Yeah.
And just try again.
Asking people in the store if they want to be my new mom.
Changing every 6 weeks is us when we get to New Gen Ultraman, and the shows are only 26 episodes.
Lol. Wow, that is a podcast. Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Be seeing you.
Right.